Welcome back, Martini Giant fans. This is episode number 144, which are two very obscure films starring Mr. Jeff Bridges. The first one is Winter Kills from 1979, and that is directed by William Rickard. And we paired that with another obscure film, Cutter's Way from 1981, and that is directed by Ivan Passer. So why did we pick these films? Well, if you're familiar with Martini Giant, we tend to go all over the place, and sometimes you like to pick really obscure ones. These happen to be some Dan picks, which are a lot of fun. If you're new to Martini Giant and you're like, I don't know anything about these films, well, that's kind of the point of it, is you get to hear us talk about the film industry and about obscure films. But you can also go back to some other episodes where we talk about much more sort of well-known films that are going on. But a lot of fun to talk about this. Jeff Bridges was quite an actor back then, and sort of thinking about how he made these films and how, everyone thinks of him as the dude or something like that. And this is kind of very different from that and very weird. Definitely recommend it. I mean, you're going to see in Winter Kills, like John Huston is in it, and Anthony Hopkins is in it. Really cool. And then you got John Hurd in Cutter's Way as well. So just watch these films if you want to, but check them out. They're pretty cool. Okay. Do want to take a couple of announcements. Some of you might be new to the podcast, as I mentioned, because you may have been following the fact that there's this new short that we have been doing that has recently, we put out a trailer for it. It's called Ray Tracing for the Win. This is part of Chaos. I actually work for Chaos. That's my day job. I'm part of the Innovation Lab, and we've been doing stuff with virtual production, specifically with Project Arena. And Ray Tracing for the Win is the first short that we sort of created, and then we created it with the Martini Giant guys. So this is Dan and Eric and I sort of coming together and creating this short, and it's really cool. So, but if you guys want to know more about it and check it out, the trailer, just go look up Ray Tracing for the Win, or FTW trailer on YouTube, and you will be able to check it out. The short film itself will be coming out in a few weeks. But yeah, just a lot of fun, and boy, it's a Western, just so you guys know. So you'll see we'll be continuing to this Western theme in a bit. Another thing I want to mention is our watch parties. As some of you know, we do record our podcasts live. And so people can contribute to the conversation if they want to. It usually happens on Saturdays at about 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And when we're not recording a podcast, we used to do watch parties. We haven't been able to do watch parties for a few reasons, but the main one is that the system that we were using for doing watch parties is no longer exists. So it used to be done through Twitch and through Amazon Prime, but they've actually discontinued that. But we did find another way to do watch parties, which is arguably better, called Teleparty. It used to be called YouTube Party or Netflix Party, but now it's called Teleparty. And it allows you to connect to any streaming service and do a watch party, and it's pretty cool. So we're going to start doing those a lot more often, and probably just in the middle of the day or whatever, if you want to just hop on to a Martini Giant watch party, you might be able to do that. And the best way to figure that out is just to go to our watch party section or a teleparty section on our Discord. And if you want to know where our Discord is, just go to the description in this YouTube and you'll be able to find a link to our Discord. We'd love to have you on board there. But yeah, lots of stuff going on there. Watch parties are a lot of fun. We get to discuss things. We tend to look at pretty crappy movies or movies we can talk over during the watch parties. Those are a lot of fun. So think of it a little bit like a Mystery Science 3000, which is also cool. Okay, now I did mention we do stream our podcast, and if you'd like to follow those, we're going to have one this Saturday, which is going to be September 7th at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So do the conversion for your time zone. And this Saturday, we're going to be doing two films. Westerns, because we've been sort of into Westerns recently based on Ray Tracing for the Win. And the Western we're going to do is Shane, classic Western. Really well-known Western from the 50s that people know about, and we are pairing that with a film that is literally just ripped right from Shane and taken into make into a superhero film called Logan. Yes, Logan is probably actually more of a Western than it is a superhero film, and that's going to be very interesting to talk about as well. So again, if you would like to watch that live with us, that's going to be this Saturday, September 7th at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And to do that, you can follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/martini_giant, twitch.tv/martini_giant. Or if you'd like to follow us on YouTube, we do them as YouTube Live as well. And that's going to be youtube.com/@martinigiant, youtube.com/@martinigiant. And yeah, we'll have it on there as well. So you guys can contribute to the conversation in either place. We'd be happy to have you. But for now, please enjoy Winter Kills and Cutter's Way. Lots of stuff going on, lots of things going on personally, as well as the fact that we were finishing up the short. The short did get delayed by a little bit in terms of its release, but it's going to be coming out in September. So everyone who's been paying attention to what we've been doing in Martini Giant, our short is coming out in September. We'll probably see the short publicly on public channels like YouTube or whatever, probably latter half of September. But there's going to be a couple of special screenings happening before that. So excited for all of that incredible work. But this has meant that I have been, I don't think I've worked this hard in a long time. Maybe it's just because I'm getting old, but I've worked my ass off.
Effort. Like we were cranking on that thing. And I don't mind saying it's great.
Yeah.
It turned out great. We're all very proud. Can't wait for folks to see it.
So I've been a little bit on I got to take a backseat to doing the podcast because it was just a little too much stuff going on. Like Saturdays. I mean, I've been like 24/7. You guys know, I texted you guys like any time of the day. Like,
Yeah. Insane.
But it got done.
Yeah.
It looks great. I'm very excited. I just want to, it is on top of that, on top of the hard work, is also one of the most exciting things I've done. So I'm very excited about that.
No,
it's been really cool that we got to do this together as a group and creatively as well. So very happy about that.
It's definitely the largest production that I have ever been involved with personally that I had anything to do with, really.
Wow. Well, that's not. I mean, you've been a matte painter on some much bigger
I worked
project.
on great big movies, but it's not like I could go to David Fincher and say, like, Dave, I was thinking maybe we should do it.
I know what you're saying, because here when you go home at night, you are partly responsible. You're directing.
Exactly.
So there's a lot on your mind. You wake up. Working for Fincher's like, I knocked it out, but I'm going to go watch TV and read a book.
He's steering the ship. Yeah, so I can do whatever I want when I get home. When I supposedly get home.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we killed it. I'm very proud of us, and it looks great. So
it was something like it was one of those things where I realized, like, if I don't do anything, nothing's going to get done.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like it's completely.
It's like being a parent all over again.
Oh God.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's really interesting, and but we got to work with an enormous amount of great people, and it flowed. It worked really well. Everyone was deep in the flow, doing a great job together, having a good time, and we will definitely be pumped to tell everybody about this once we premiere.
Yeah,
guaranteed. So good things
all around. Very excited about it.
Yep.
And so I said, "Oh my God, you know what you haven't done, guys? Because we talk to each other several times a day usually, but I was like, we haven't done a podcast.
Oh shit! We used to do a podcast.
We used to do a podcast. So yeah, we haven't done one in a while. So I'm sorry about that, but it's back on track. And we're going to start putting them out more regularly, obviously.
Greetings to everybody out there in chat. Shane Mullen, 666. Hello. Good to see you.
Hey, Shane. How are you?
Mm-hmm.
And then also wanted to say, so I asked these guys, I said, what do you guys want to do as a movie? And I said, we haven't done something kind of like an older movie in a while. So we've been doing actually pretty contemporary stuff before, right? We were doing Civil War.
Was our last thing, yep.
Yeah. So these were your suggestions, Daniel.
Yeah, I take full responsibility for whatever people think of these.
The full Jeff Bridges.
The full Jeff Bridges. This is Jeff Bridges' early career trying to figure out what the fuck he's going to do with all that handsome.
Oh my God.
And remember, it's he was like an American model there, but it's also, remember, it was after he did the King Kong.
That's right. This is post King Kong.
So he was like the big, big deal.
I'm going to go on record. I fucking love that King Kong. I think that King Kong is terrific.
There's a De Laurentiis.
It's De Laurentiis, a go-go. It has De Laurentiis' fingerprints all over it. So good and bad, it is entertaining as hell. And
the sweaty palms of De Laurentiis.
Oh my God, dude. I mean, like, first of all, we have to, like, Jeff Bridges, like, son of Lloyd Bridges. Lloyd Bridges was never a very handsome man. He was a character actor. Like, he had a few starring roles, but he wasn't, like, you know, a knockout. But Jeff Bridges, like, it's like...
Even Bo is not as good, handsome as...
Yeah, and Bo was, at the time, Bo was seen as...
a better actor.
A more, you know...
serious.
Like, he was
not a pretty
serious
boy.
guy. Yeah, exactly. But Jeff comes out swinging, and he makes some really weird choices.
But he does
Thunderbolt and Lightfoot.
Yeah,
Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, the Last Picture Show.
Last Picture Show. Yeah, like he's really jamming it. And these two movies in particular, like this is where he's going like, okay, I really gotta figure my stuff out. Like, what am I really interested in? What kind of movies am I gonna do? Who am I gonna?
I wonder if it's a reaction to the King Kong.
Say again?
Because those are all within the kind of a year or two. I wonder if it's a reaction to King Kong 77, 78.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that like he was looking down the barrel of essentially of what, you know, like I'm sure many Marvel stars are looking down the barrel of.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
I don't know if I can ride this train forever.
Speaking of that, this is interesting. So I've seen several movies in the last few days, right?
Yeah.
I watched Winter Kills. I watched Cutter's Way. But I also watched, because I was bored, I watched Ghosted.
Ghosted? Oh, Ghosted. That's right. I forgot about Ghosted. Did you forget about Ghosted as you were watching it?
Yes. Like the movie ghosted me, or my memory ghosted the movie, shall we say.
That's oh, man.
So, here's the thing. The amount of stars and cameos in Ghosted, which stars, of course, you know, Captain America.
Yeah.
And Ana de Armas, who is like blonde.
Nobody, like, young people who are listening to this podcast right now are going, "Fuck is Ghosted?" Because nobody remembers Ghosted. It's simply gone.
It's not a cheap movie.
Yeah, no, huge, giant, expensive movie. And it's
made by Apple TV, I believe. And they were like, and it's the most generic story. It's funny. I gotta tell you this. It's completely like, just watch it, enjoy it, let it go.
It's passable entertainment.
Very passable entertainment. Very easy to digest.
Yes.
It's like, you know, it's like a good creamy spinach
like
kind of like old people home food, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like I remember staring at the poster for that on Apple, like the poster design. I was like, is this real? This looks like a movie that's in a movie.
Right.
It looks like a fake movie that they're making in a movie, like Coming Up Daisy or something like that, where you're like, is that real?
Yeah. I mean, just to say how much, the reason I came up is because you're thinking of what actors are going to do post Marvel, right?
Yeah.
And the reason it came up is that obviously the Captain America, Chris Evans, is in it, right?
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of assassins after him.
Yeah.
And all the assassins are played by other characters from Captain America.
Oh my God, really?
Yes, like the black guy who plays the Falcon or whatever.
Oh yeah, he's good. I like that guy.
He's one of the assassins. And then the guy who plays the Winter Soldier, his brother or whatever, he's also one of the assassins.
That's the gag. I get it.
And I'm like, okay.
Right. So it's like Cannonball Run for superheroes.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing, because did you see The Gray Man?
Although I got to say, Ana de Armas is very attractive.
Yes, she is.
I don't know. I mean, maybe.
What?
Maybe she's one of the most beautiful women on the earth. Maybe.
Maybe.
Interesting you did that, because I went a different way than, you know, in this, like, movies. I've just been doing like Fistful of Dollars, a few dollars more.
I just
rewatched more. Then I just watched Shane today, and you know, it's like I'm doing westerns. I don't know why.
Have you gone back to watch Once Upon a Time in the West, or have you seen that one too?
I have the book on the making of. It's actually my favorite Leone movie.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite too.
It's got.
I have that beautiful book that they put out like
that's
5 years ago.
One,
I still cannot betray my love for The Good and Bad, the Ugly. That one to me.
I gotta say, for a few dollars more, really, because Lee Van Cleef is awesome.
He's great in that. I like him better in a few dollars more than I do in Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Yes.
Like I think that's his actual tip top bad guy role. I think he's absolutely amazing in that. Like he's. Totally
Although also should note, just to bring it full circle, Eli Wallace is in Winter Kills.
Eli Wallace, of course, yes. Eli Wallace comes back in Winter
I know.
Kills. So I just want to throw this in before I forget. I finally, after months of disinterested malaise, watched The Fall Guy because you guys said it was so good.
I enjoyed it. I said it was good.
I fucking loved it. I laughed
so much fun.
Ass off. I laughed my ass off. That movie was
so much fun. And it really, honestly speaking, it's the two of them that save this movie.
Well, specifically, it is Ryan Gosling.
It's Ryan Gosling.
Like, she's very good.
She's very good and believable and works perfectly.
Absolutely does. They have great chemistry. She's very good.
He is so good.
It is a Ryan Gosling display in the Ryan Gosling store. Like, it is just
but I also
ridiculous.
thought, like, there was parts of it
terrific.
They're obviously making fun of the industry itself.
Oh, yeah. In fact, when I was watching it, I was like, this is needlessly accurate for the kind of movie it is.
Yeah, like, it's making fun of itself very specifically.
Like there's really great little touches. Like one of my favorite little gags is when Gosling's like sitting on the edge of his trailer and he's talking to talking to this woman who's obviously like a runner and he's like because I didn't have breakfast today, and she's like, I gave you brekkie, right? He's like, I think you're in meal violation.
Oh yeah, I love that. He's like, no, that's a meal violation for the break. He's like, no, you got breakfast. You definitely had breakfast.
Fucking funny, man. But the first moment I laughed out, and it was this movie had the first time I've laughed out loud, honestly, in quite some time. When
you gotta get closer to the mic, dude.
When the first moment, I'm gonna turn my mic up. When the first moment I've laughed out loud in a while is when Emily Blunt is calling him out via megaphone on set and going through their entire thing, right? And the alien guy reaches for the megaphone and goes, like I had to pause the movie. I was laughing.
Oh, I know, it's so funny. Like,
I've been in a very similar situation.
So we should say, I promised Brady, we don't want to get too much into it because I promised Brady we will cover The Fall Guy on Martini Giant.
Well,
he loves this movie. He said now it might be his favorite film.
That is one of the funniest. And the thing is, like, I will give the other credit to not just Ryan Gosling, and we'll talk about more of this on the Brady podcast, but Ryan Gosling is doing hard work in this thing. But the movie is doing the one thing right that we always complain about here, that I always complain about here, is that most modern comedies are shot like shit. Like they're shot A-B, medium, medium.
Edited like shit.
Edited like shit, right? And the camera is part of the comedy all the time.
Yes.
Like they let things go wide and run all the way through. They'll make very subtle moves that enhance the comedy. I'm like, oh my God, just some decent comedy direction is so rare that I was really energized by this.
I also think it's so funny how they blatantly say that the action hero is Tom Cruise. Like,
oh yeah, it's very funny.
His name is Tom Ryder,
and not in a mean way. Like they're not being like mean about it.
No,
it's just like it's obviously having fun with it. It's really funny, and also
it's like he might be bigger than Tom Cruise. Well, come on.
Yeah, and the name of his the producer,
his agent,
his agent there,
producer agent, which is basically Tom Cruise's sister.
Right. So like it's a mix between like Tom Cruise's actual producing partner and her name is Gail. So it's partially Gail and Hurd also. Yeah. So it's a perfect mix. It's really, really good. This is an advertisement for a future Martini Giant episode where we talk about this at length. But I was very pleasantly surprised.
And it felt real, like all their little breaks and what they do and the hours they work and then talking to the visual effects. I mean, it actually, like, even though it's a comedy, it's like, this really feels like it's actually what you would do on set.
No, it's like they're making a shitty movie, but I've worked on shitty movies.
Yeah.
It looks like this.
Yeah.
Like they actually take the time to do these little details correctly, and
Yeah.
I was like,
it's not too heavy, so you can use. It's very digestible.
Yeah, no, extremely funny, well cut.
Sorry, we just said we're not going to do it, and Andy hasn't. Eric hasn't seen it, so we're not going to get too much into it.
Very brief.
Why stop now?
But back to briefly,
Mrs.
Westerns.
Mulray.
Oh my God!
I haven't seen the movie.
That's right.
So yes, I got to say that John Huston is pretty much I think they Winter Kills. They pretty much cast everyone to play a parody of themselves.
Yes.
Okay. So now, which one do we want to talk about first? These are they both have juicy things to say.
So they do both have juicy things to say. One of them is Cuckoo Town and almost makes fun of itself, and the other one is pretty good, but also I think takes itself too seriously.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think I agree with you on both of these things. Yeah, I'm not going to say either one of these movies are 4-star movies.
No,
but they're really fascinating, interesting movies.
Very
based
much
on the first the Cutter's Way I'd seen a couple times prior because I love Jeff Bridges. You know what it is? What's his name made a book? It's based off a book.
Yeah.
So it's like P.T. Anderson made one with Joaquin, right?
Yeah, Phoenix.
What was the one he made? It was almost like
I was going to bring this up. You're exactly right. It's Inherent Vice.
Inherent Vice. So it has that feel because it's based off of it's not a Bukowski film, but it's got a vibe to it that is very like a guy by his typewriter, and that's kind of the excitement of it because my feeling was that he did it probably because he was doing this De Laurentiis thing. It's like, I want to get back to theater. Well, I wasn't really in theater, but I love this book, and and it's probably a small crew. There's some wonderful parts to it. I think
there are.
Yeah,
there's
really
definitely some. We'll talk about it, but one thing is annoying about it. But the first one, I'm just going to get it out of the way.
Get it out of the way.
Winter Kills.
Yeah.
That shot of John Huston, that effect shot, I love.
Oh yeah, falling.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Through the flag.
Yes,
it was so great.
Okay.
There's no way to spoil this movie.
I was like,
people need to see it. We're just going to say it right off the bat. Eric is right. We have to talk about the last shot, the ending of the film.
Absolutely. Go for it.
Because that is really
so
sums
clever.
up.
Yeah, it's so good, dude.
It's so funny.
Wacky, but
good.
really a great effect shot. What is he? He's grab a section of it and he's pulling the fabric down or something.
And I can't say that we're spoiling it because literally the poster of the movie is that.
Yeah, but it's really hard to have. It's really hard to spoil a film if there's no coherence to it. Because it's
because the movie is like I think the movie knows what it's doing. The movie knows that it's ridiculous, right?
Right.
But because it really, really goes for it.
Yeah,
and in the most ridiculous way. But like what I think is really I feel. Let's see. There's no way to spoil the movie because the idea is to overwhelm you with ridiculousness, not to make any sense.
I think it was one of those health insurance films where everybody did it so they can extend their health insurance with SAG.
That's possible.
Even Elizabeth Taylor, I was like, oh God, is she needs money?
She shows up, and she doesn't say anything. She just mouths, "You son of a bitch." Like, okay, so this is not a 4-star film. Oh, but I love it as if it were a 4-star film.
Okay. I deep dove. Here's the thing. Deep dove. When he goes to see John Huston and he's with those two hotties in the bed, those two girls, he's like, and he was like an idiot. He's like, "Do you want some?" He's like, "Nah." Jeff Bridges.
In the hospital?
In the hospital. In the grand hospital.
In the hospital.
Okay, just
do you know who that is?
Little context here, just real quick. Jeff Bridges comes from an extraordinarily rich family. His father is John Huston, and he's a complete asshole. And his dad is constantly flaunting these hot girls that he's doing. And in the hospital, he's getting a full blood transfusion, essentially because he's rich enough to do it.
He's a vampire.
and he's sitting in this big poster bed in a secret chamber inside the hospital.
It looks
getting a
like
blood
they're
transfusion.
in the Vatican, and they put a bed in the side room in the Vatican, and
the nurses are in like hot nurses outfits, feeding him cake off their finger.
It's
okay,
hilarious.
so here's the hook on that. Do you know who one of the girls was?
No.
Who?
Mia Farrow's sister.
Oh, that's even weirder.
Her younger sister was the girl on the right, because I was like, who are these girls? I had to look them up. I was like, wait a minute. Mia Farrow's younger sister.
Yeah, it's literally just
strange.
Like Playboy.
So I guess she needed health insurance.
Yeah, I will draw a portrait of this film for the listeners at home. So this is a conspiracy.
Oh, it's a complete conspiracy film.
It's beyond any conspiracy movie you've ever seen, because the basis is essentially, what if every conspiracy you've ever heard about was true?
And but the genius thing about this, and I believe it's really the screenplay, is that when you leave the theater and you say the film is not that good, that is a conspiracy theory. So everybody who goes to see it and comments on it, so it's like a parallel, it just keeps moving. It's a conspiracy theory. And that was the first time they did that in films. They did it with The Hobbit too, with Peter Jackson.
Actually, that's very true. But yeah, like this movie is a crazy all-star cast, right? It is based on a novel by Richard Condon, who wrote 6 Days of the Condor. It was made into 3 Days of the Condor. And I actually started reading the book, and the book is actually really pretty good. Like, it's a really interesting spy book, right? But the movie is making this very specific choice to be a black comedy vision of this thing, right? And the reason why I love it so much is that it feels to me like it's like when you said it's Cuckoo Town, like it is Cuckoo Town. The whole thing's Cuckoo Town. It is meant to be a romantic for the Kennedy assassination.
Yes.
And every single possible interpretation of the Kennedy assassination, right? And then the general point of the movie is America is an insane person. Like we are like we believe we're noble, but we're actually crazy, right?
Yes.
And so the overall effect that the movie has, especially the more I watch it, I'm like, if this were because I think the problem with the movie is it's not very well directed. Right. It is a very.
But other than that, it's a top show. By the way,
they're onto something.
By the way, he wrote 3 Days of the Condor, the book, right?
Yeah, right.
It was 6 Days of the Condor. This actual book that he wrote was actually called 8 Days of Nonsense.
8 Days of Nonsense.
They condensed it to
made it all
Winter Kills.
One day,
yeah.
8 hours of nonsense. But like it's the I feel like with this movie, they are on the verge of doing something brilliant. It's just that they're not quite good enough to pull it off. This movie, if this movie were directed by
Hal Ashby,
exactly.
There you go.
Then you have
it's Ashby without
crazy
Ashby.
Masterpiece.
Yes,
it's so close to being an incredibly great
film.
I was going to say
it's undermade.
What's his name? Chinatown guy.
Yeah,
Polanski.
Yeah, Polanski would do it. I mean, it has to have.
But there's no sense of humor in Polanski. Yeah. But I think Ashby was so brilliant in his sense of humor. You know who else could have done it is, what's his name? Oh, God, my memory is gone, Dan. McCabe and Mrs. Miller.
Oh, yeah. Altman would have done this perfectly as well. These are all great choices. Yeah, like anyone who has a real...
smart sense of humor and just questions authority the way they do, and they're outside the system a little bit.
Yeah, because every single scene in this thing is like the sort of, it's like it feels like it's shot for fucking Dynasty. Like I'm just like it's like
you think they put pantyhose over the lens? I don't know. Or Vaseline on the lens.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's shot by Vilma Zsigmond. Like it should even be
I know,
better
but it still was like.
It looks like Dynasty. The movie looks and plays like an episode, or Dallas. Like it plays like that, and I'm going
to bring Bobby down if it takes all you in oil. Imagine if they did that.
And I'm just like, you guys are like, if you pushed it just 3 more yards, you have a
Larry Hagman shows up just for the health insurance.
It's like it's virtually almost network, and I'm just like, this could have been the network of politics. And because like you watch this now,
it is the same time though.
It is, and
I mean, this is a combination of Parallax View, of Chinatown, of
right. Well, the thing is, like watching it today, and this is why I bring up network, is like watching it today. I'm like, this is how crazy I think the world is right now. Yeah. Like this is like everything that, especially Anthony Perkins when he shows up.
Oh my God, he's so good.
He's so
he's
fucking good.
He's my best. He's the best part of this.
This is the part of the movie which is just legitimately amazing. Like it's just here it is. It's amazing. Here's the amazing part of the film.
You think this is crazy? You're right. It is crazy.
And like that, I'm just like, why didn't you make the entire movie like this? This is the movie. And also, what he is saying is true now. Yeah. Like you're just going like this. They're correct. This movie is correct. This movie is absolutely correct. Yeah. And like what has happened is that we have all broken up into these very crazy little opinion bubbles all over the place, right? And there is a supercomputer, Anthony Perkins, that is playing all of those bubbles against each other, and that is the conspiracy. It's a conspiracy of non-functional, unreal conspiracies.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh fuck, this is the real world. This is the real world.
Yeah, it's all been planned.
And I'm just like, this is fucking incredible, and it's just not that well made. Like it's so close to being a great film, and it understands like I haven't finished reading the book, but I feel like the book is really, really, really onto something, and they should remake this film with a great director. Like there is something you could make that a Doctor Strangelove level film if you really tried.
Who could do a good job on this
today? Don't know.
Oh,
today is really hard.
Today's very hard, but you could do it with a maybe
Soderbergh.
Soderbergh would be a good choice.
A good choice, yeah. Like, yeah, but that kind of like the rich, because like what's great with Altman and great with especially Hal Ashby when you think about being there, is like being there is simultaneously sort of flippant and silly, as well as profound and deeply real. You know,
and that gets the point across, and that's who could have done it better.
Yeah, and I think that's the kind of thing where you're just like, you have to come out of that movie, like you have to be laughing all the way through the movie, and at the end you feel like you've been in a car crash.
The guy who did Shaun of the Dead, that guy.
Oh, that'd be interesting, actually. Yeah, he's certainly got the flair for it, like the visual flair for it.
Yeah,
but
like he can do the combination because he does all those crazy weird edits and the way that things turned around.
Right. I mean, like you need sort of a combination of him and Paul Thomas Anderson, like the gravity of Anderson. You know,
Anderson's too slow a film. I think
he's too serious now.
Yeah, too serious. Yeah. But can you imagine
Punch Drunk Love? Anderson would have done it.
That may have worked, right? But like, can you imagine if
Safdie brothers were doing amazing?
Yes.
Can you imagine that? If the Safdie brothers did like a 10-hour Netflix like super speed crazy thing, that'd be insane. But like
Safdie brothers would be awesome.
If you got fucking Daniel Day-Lewis in the dad's role in the John Huston role, this movie is the greatest thing that's been made.
Just said that John Huston. John Huston, you remember you were on Chinatown? Okay, just keep going.
Just go further. Off the cliff. Let's go.
Like, I want you to play a parody of yourself from Chinatown.
Yeah. Oh my God. So, okay, let's sum up the plot for people. Like, as much as there is a plot. Okay.
Well, there's a plot. That's the one thing this thing has. It's got plot galore.
So you have essentially John Huston is a stand-in for Joe Kennedy, right?
Sure.
And so he has two sons. One of them became president of the United States and was assassinated. Okay.
Right.
The other one is Jeff Bridges, right?
Who just came back from freeing King Kong on a ship.
Yes, exactly. It's the same. You can cut it directly into it. So
like literally, he's on a cargo ship or an oil rig ship or whatever,
right,
in the middle of the Pacific somewhere.
Yeah, he's obviously like he's a like unlike his hero son, his hero brother, right, that everyone loves. He's just sort of like, because he's not even like he's not like Bobby Kennedy. He's more like JFK Jr. Like he's just
or
like
Ted.
Or Ted or something like, just where you're just like, you know, he has no even opinion. He doesn't even have an opinion about anything like Ted does. Like he's just sort of like,
he was a better driver than Ted though.
That's slightly. Oh, poor Teddy. Anyway, so yeah, everyone would go watch Blowout to get the jokes we're telling there. So the he's just sort of like the disappointing son who. John Huston
did nothing disappointing, but still is considered disappointing.
It's considered a disappointment. And at the very beginning,
he's disappointing because he didn't have the ambition.
You know, the mother says he's sensitive.
He's
that
sensitive.
right there is death to
sensitive.
any kid in a wealthy family. He's sensitive.
He's
Okay,
That's right.
he's
Yeah.
gonna own start a
considered
floral
sensitive
shop in
child,
Brooklyn.
Eric?
No, I was the pain in the
Totally
ass child.
insensitive now. But you have Jeff Bridges. They've like John Huston has stuck him out on a boat in the middle of nowhere to do a nothing job and get paid highly. That's pretty much his allowance. And then with absolutely no introduction to any of these facts whatsoever, there's a dead guy brought on the ship. You don't know why, or a dying guy.
Not quite dead yet.
Not quite dead. Dying guy brought on the ship, and he's like, "I'm the one who killed your brother." And you're like, "Who's his brother?" "It was the president of the United States." And you're just like, "Wait a minute, who's the president of the United States?"
He died 19 years ago, right?
19, yeah, exactly. And so there's a deathbed confession from this guy who says he was the second shooter in the assassination of Jeff Bridges' brother. Jeff Bridges
hid the gun, and it was all a conspiracy.
It's all a conspiracy. Jeff Bridges takes this lead, goes to the place where the guy said the gun was hidden. They go to this wig shop in New York, and in the floor of the wig shop, they do find the gun. And then Jess is like, "Oh my gosh, we have to bring this to the news and blah 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 blah." Everybody who's in the car with Jeff Bridges, except for Jeff Bridges, is killed by a sniper. The quietest sniper.
And nobody reacts on the street.
No, it's fine.
No, because it's a sniper shot.
Yeah, exactly. And
right. And then there's a woman with a kid and an ice cream cone. That goes
That's the creepiest thing out of all of it.
Yeah,
it's totally. That's the what did it remind me of? What's the Donald Sutherland?
Very shiny,
horror film that you like?
Oh yeah, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's very
no, not Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
The one in Venice.
Right. The one in Venice. Yeah.
Yes.
Don't look down. So,
don't look down. So it looked like the dwarf going by.
Exactly. No, that would have been a better movie if she's like on like a knit scarf and then like there's the dwarf.
Honestly,
movie in the back.
that actually could have been a great movie when he goes into the store and there are all those mobsters there and he buys something. And he sees her go by, and then he goes out, and the store blows up. Mm-hmm. That concept alone would make a great movie.
Oh, this thing is loaded with great potential scenes.
Like just somebody's always going by with a bike and a kid, and it's like, wait, I know that person. And his life is saved.
Yeah. Like I think that if there was some real filmmaking to this film, then you have something great. And so like Jeff Bridges is now suddenly wrapped up in this paranoid plot line. He goes back to his dad and on his huge mansion, and
in Palm Springs, very Palm Springs. His dad is like an entourage of people that are following. He's very rich. Yeah. He's got two hottie girls in the golf cart with him, which is the picture behind us right now. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Where do you think their hands are right now? Blowing my balls."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, and so like he's a classic, super rich, moral-free old white dude, right? And his mother is a half crazy drunk, and his whole family is just a bunch of rich weirdos.
Oh, he's been raised by butlers.
Raised by butlers, right, exactly. And so he tells his dad all about this stuff, and he's like, "Well, we're going to figure it out, son. Let's go," right? And then he goes on this, they're like, "Okay, so you got to go here and talk to this guy, and go here." And so like, to sum up the next hour of the movie, Jeff Bridges goes on tour of every possible conspiracy angle on the Kennedy assassination. And so it's like, here's the mob, here's the so-and-so, here's the and like the most exaggerated form of that. But samples of this, which I love, are like, first guy he goes to talk to is a military industrialist, right? Played by,
of course. Who are you going to get to play the crazy industrialist guy?
Sterling Hayden.
Sterling Hayden, who's like in a tank. In a freaking tank. He's like, "You got 30 seconds to get out of my private property. We start firing on you."
Now, there's the first instance where I say, okay, if this were directed to be like Strangelove, this scene would be fucking hysterical. Like it's a great idea for a scene. Like he's in his like little Pinto or something like this, surrounded by tanks.
Yellow Pinto, yeah, like it's right behind Eric.
Right. It's a kind of awkwardly shot scene. It doesn't play as funny as it sounds, but you can tell that there's a great scene there, right? And that's what this movie is loaded with. And like actually one of my favorite scenes that pulls the joke off is like he hates his dad, he hates his family. And like
I know the scene you're talking about.
Yeah, this is so good. Like he's so miffed at his dad that he goes out and goes to the stables and gets on a horse. And he's wearing this gold bathrobe with his shirt.
Yeah, and he just goes for like 4 days on the horse in the middle of the desert.
And gallops into the desert. And like, he doesn't just say, "Hey," he gallops.
Father,
it's like a Western.
I hate you, Father.
He gallops so far away from the mansion that the mansion's just like this little dot on the horizon out in the middle of the desert or whatever it is. And he turns the horse around, and his gold bathrobe is blowing in the breeze. It looks like it's a John. I was
gonna say like a Harlequin novel cover.
Yeah, it's like he's like, well, like this, and he goes, "You stink, Dad!" It's the funniest fucking thing in the entire movie. You stink, Dad! You stink! I'm just like, this is like, if the movie could have captured that energy for all the rest of the stuff, like there's like a few moments of genuine hilarity in there. One is that he is in love with this woman that he met in Paris, and he's been talking to her voice machine from the opening of the film, right?
Right.
And leaving messages. Finally, he gets to New York where she's staying and gets to see her, and it cuts to them having sex, and she is making noises as if she is being murdered. And he starts putting a pillow over her face to try to calm. And you're just like, what is this? Why would Jeff Bridges read this and go, "Let's do this. This seems like it's good for my career."
Well,
it's hysterical. It's just hysterical.
And then the first thing is like after she has this complete overreaction to their escapade, he's like, "Let's get married."
And she says no because I work at the magazine
while she's peeing on the toilet.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, like so the overall of this movie is that he's taken on this world tour of conspiracy. All of it turns out to be kind of true and slightly interconnected, but it's essentially all run by the guy from Psycho, right? Anthony Perkins. Who works for Jeff Bridges' dad's company, and he's the guy who runs all the information.
But he's pretty much gotten so powerful that he controls even Jeff Bridges' father.
And yes, and so ultimately, what happens is that you find out, and this is a spoiler, so turn it off now if you're going to watch it. It turns out that that the dad ordered the president of the United States, his son, to be killed, and the reason why he ordered this to happen is because he wasn't really the one who ordered it. It was actually Anthony Perkins who needed it to happen to keep everything else in the high state of chaos that gives him control.
Right.
Which
it's
is when
basically like saying an AI decided that this needed to happen.
Yes. Right. And this is where
because he has a computer that makes decisions for the rest of whatever.
And Perkins this is my second favorite Perkins.
He's really good in it, actually.
He's terrific, right? And he's so committed, and he's so he's playing it totally straight, but he's absolutely hilarious. Mm-hmm. And this is this weird combo of Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and everyone you could possibly stuff into a character. And he's just like, no, this is the way. This is how to keep the world under control. Is just to generate constant chaos, have everyone react to it radically, then use their radical actions against them to manipulate them. And I was like, oh, that's actually
a great idea.
That's what's happening for real.
Yes.
And it's really sort of stunning that this is the punchline of this sort of mediocre TV movie with a crazy script arrives in this place where I was like, oh my God, this is I wish someone would remake this today. This thing is visionary for coming out in 1977 or 79 or whatever it is. In the same way that 3 Days of the Condor, also by the same author.
The guy who did Civil War, who also did the robot movie.
The robot movie,
Ex Machina. He could do a good job with this.
He could do a good job with this.
He's really...
Yeah, really, really talented filmmaker. And that's the thing is this dude, Richard Condon, I believe that's his name, wrote the original 6 Days of the Condor, 3 Days of the Condor. And you get to the end of 3 Days of the Condor, and the way the plot gets revealed is oh, they're actually right. This all turns out to be true in about 10 years. Everything with this is what oil corporations do. This is how the government works with them. These are the things this is what we plan for. And this all comes out in the 80s and 90s. And it just is real. And this movie is even more true. It just took about 40 years to get there. And I was really startled in watching this the first time. It's a good ride anyway because it's just a nutty movie that no one should
totally
make.
Nuts.
Yeah. You know, and it's like it's wild to see young Jeff shirtless Bridges running around doing the stuff.
I think I've seen Jeff Bridges without a shirt more than I've ever.
A lot. It's a lot to ask
between these two films.
It's very distracting. Like you can still see it in your vision, like the sun.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you think, you know, like it's a big trend, which is not a bad thing. It's a big trend these days to have hot male movie stars show off their incredible abs and stuff. But I just got to say that Jeff Bridges is toe to toe with all these guys who are on all of these things, and he did it without the drugs that are available today.
Yeah, like this dude is some stone cold sexy business.
Oh, especially the opening scene in Cutter's Way.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
It's like, ugh.
It's insane. Like, and also, did you recognize the woman that he's with in Cutter's Way in the opening?
In the beginning?
Yes.
The woman. Who was that?
The woman is Nina Van Pallant, who her only other real movie that I can list is The Long Goodbye. She's the wife of Sterling Hayden. And I was like, oh shit, that's her. I didn't realize who she was the first time I saw it. And I was rewatching F for Fake, which is Orson Welles' awesome documentary. And the guy who is the author of the fake book about who's the guy who made the Spruce Goose?
Hughes.
The fake book about interviewing Hughes was married to Nina Van Pallant. Like this is her claims to fame. So yeah, it was really weird. But anyway, like
she was really good in Cutter's Way. We're gonna get to Cutter's Way in a second.
It's great.
But she was really good. Her reaction was pretty spot on.
Terrific actor.
She's only in the movie for like 2 minutes, but really good.
But yeah, so I really recommend this crazy ass movie.
Oh yeah, it would have been good to pair it with Parallax View, but it's too similar in some ways.
Yeah, like Parallax View does it right. Like Parallax View is a brilliantly made movie that's doing the same.
But it's really paranoid.
But it's true. Yeah. Like it really it lands. Parallax View lands the plane. Like it's like we're going to make this.
Yeah, this one's crazy.
This is just all crazy and no.
The best part of it is like when you really, if you've ever questioned, is like, is this really that crazy? And essentially what happens is John Huston at the end, like Eric was saying, is like reveals that he is in fact did do all the things. Everything he says is correct, but he doesn't really have the power. Anthony Perkins and the computers have the power.
Yeah.
And then he's falls out the window, is holding on to a giant American flag. He's going to die. His son is trying to save him. He goes, forget saving me. You need to carry on for the family. And he starts giving him stock tips as he's dying.
Invest in Brazil, son.
Invest in Brazil as he's falling down into the abyss.
Splitting the American flag in half as he's riding down this giant. I'm just like, it's the imagery just of itself, regardless of whether the filmmaking is any good, is spectacular.
It's like, the funniest thing.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrific. And I really feel like this is one of these things where, like, it's sort of come back into vogue. Like I've seen more and more people talk about this movie. But I'm just like, I really want some filmmaker to go, let me take another crack at this book, because this thing is fucking insane. And really bring it all the way home, because like,
and you said you read the book.
I actually started reading the book. I picked up the book. I've read about 20-30 pages, and it's sort of surprisingly, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, the guy's a good writer, but it's a much richer experience, and a much more sort of like, there's a lot more buy-in to the silliness that's happening, and sort of like it eases you into the ridiculousness with some very good, clever writing. So I expect it to work all the way through. But like there's a bunch of great post-assassination conspiracy thriller novels that came out during the 70s. Like, if you guys have ever read, like, there's a bunch of great ones. That there's one called The Leaves of Autumn, which is terrific, absolute. Which is a conspiracy in which essentially Kennedy is killed because of the Vietnam War.
Yeah, well, that's not too far off.
Yeah, and it's a very compelling, very plausible thriller that I really, really enjoyed. So this sort of fits into that zone. But it also made me think, like, it's weird that we don't have, like, we had this assassination, and then there was a lot of public processing of that. But we don't always do that. Like with 9/11, it's not like there's a lot of 9/11. We've talked about it before. There's not a lot of 9/11 movies No one wanted to see any 9/11 movies. But Kennedy assassination movies, it's like it's non-fucking stop through the 70s. Like that's referenced all the time. And I'm just surprised that this one isn't the cherry on the sundae of 70s assassination movies. And like,
there's a whole spot in Dallas where you go visit where he was assassinated.
Exactly, it's a fucking.
They capitalize on it. It's like a tourist attraction.
I've been there. I think that's a cool place.
Yeah,
I know, but you make it into a tourist attraction.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's weird. Yeah, but yeah, it's a wild picture. I definitely recommend it. You can watch it for free on Tubi, and it's a
yes, actually, that's a good note. I was going to bring that up again. These movies were Tubi movies. Tubi is going to become more and more important these days, I believe.
I fucking love Tubi, man. I love Tubi.
Tubi's owned by Fox, by the way.
I had a suggestion.
But it's also available, I should say, sorry, just real quick, on Canopy, which is ad-free and available, and people should look at these things for sure. Anyway, Eric, what was your suggestion?
There are so many cool films in Tubi. I was like, what if you just based a whole podcast around Tubi and then see if you can get sponsorship?
Oh, dude.
They're owned by Fox, first of all.
That's fine.
Well, it's a step in the right direction.
I know,
for
Mr. Fox.
Let's look at it that way. Like,
right.
Let's.
There is a couple of things that are interesting about this, and let's just look at the economics of the model, because what's happening more and more these days is streaming networks. Obviously, the streaming wars have gone to shit, as we know, and people were losing money. Right? Even Apple, the company that's got more money than anything, said, maybe we shouldn't be spending $25 billion on content. That's really not good at return on investment. Right. And they're like, not necessary, right? Yeah. So even they are cutting back, and having just seen Ghosted, I get it.
Yeah, that's what you're spending your money on.
Spending your money on all that. Yeah. So, but what's interesting about it is the way that they're going to make their money back is they're going back to cable, in the sense that they're bringing ads back.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yes.
And so the way that we've all enjoyed streaming is that, like, I can watch whatever I want without ads. And so they're like, okay, now we make an ad version and a non-ad version. And then what they're doing is they keep raising the price of the non-ad version to force you into the ad version, because they'll make way more money from ads.
Yes.
If you do that.
Right.
But what's interesting, if you think about that, so you're paying $10 for Netflix with ads or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But Tubi is free with ads.
Yeah. And
so if you're willing to deal with ads, why pay
100% better in terms of its content.
Why pay money if you're willing to deal with ads?
Yeah. Come on, man.
So a lot of great stuff on Tubi.
Because like the thing is, like,
there's a lot of shit on Tubi too. So it's you have to.
Have you been to Netflix recently?
Second.
Have you been to Netflix recently?
Netflix is
I agree. Okay. Or Max is even worse. Oh my god.
Yeah, Max is a disaster. Max is an absolute disaster. They have destroyed one of the greatest brands in
100%.
It's such an embarrassment. It's insane.
Zaslav.
Yeah, it's got, like, the thing is, I mean, like, that will just ultimately, Max will just get folded into, some other reality show network.
Oh, it's Discovery Network.
Yeah, it's Discovery Network now. And it'll just
they basically said, you know what, we're going to make more money selling house flipping episodes than we are on Game of Thrones. So
yep. So fuck them. Exactly. And the thing is, like, this is the, I don't know. I know we talked about this. We haven't talked about it on the show. Is that I tried to watch the new Star Wars show they made called The Acolyte.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Well, there's an interesting
I don't have that kind of time anymore.
People they had the standard, very polarized Star Wars reactions to this thing. And I watched it and I was like, there's a couple of good lightsaber fights that are well choreographed. It's a bad show. It's badly made. The acting's bad. The writing's bad. It's ugly. Like, it's bad. It's a bad show. But I was so numb to Star Wars being bad that I had a different experience this time. I was like, if people like this, that's fine. Like, if they're into it, it's not like I don't like garbage. There's plenty of garbage I watch.
So here's my thing. The movie we just watched, we're talking about Winter Kills, is garbage too. Okay?
Different kind of garbage, but yeah.
Different kind of garbage. And this is what I was exactly going to get at, right? Yeah. The problem I have with Star Wars right now is that it's a 50-year-old franchise that we're still trying to shove down people's throat. I do not think it is like garbage is fine as long as it's different and new and of the time. If you keep doing the same shit over and over again,
this is that, like, because it has nothing to do with the Star Wars-ness of it to me. Like, they use Star Wars because it's a known license, so they can sell it. That's all there is to it. It doesn't matter what they do with it. It's something you recognize, and that's that.
okay.
The point of what Disney has done, and they've done this very well, right? Is they don't want it to be good. They want it to be garbage. And I don't mean garbage. Well, I don't mean garbage bad. I mean garbage like I like garbage. Like because I've turned on Netflix when you just said, Eric, like, have you seen Netflix recently? Yeah, like when I look at Netflix and it's like there's nothing to watch on that platform at all for me. Almost nothing. Like they make incredible, like when they get like David Fincher in, or they get like the great big filmmakers to make their great big films. That's wonderful. Blonde again is one of my favorite movies of the past 10, 15 years. But those are one-offs that get you to come and subscribe, right? The real reason to have Netflix is because it is garbage. Everything on it is something you watch when you come home, and at the end of the day, you're tired from work and you want to put on something that is meaningless. That's meaningless and entertaining and doesn't make you think too hard. I'd have these shows too. Supernatural, like everyone has these shows. That's why most of Netflix is Love is Blind or reruns of this show or whatever it is. Like they all fit exactly the same dynamic, which is you don't want to be tested in any way. You just want something to be on that you can comment on and joke with your spouse. That's it.
For us, it's just whatever's on Hulu. So on Hulu, sure. For us, Hulu is like that's the thing. It's Frasier, it's Community, or
these are not
Parks
bad.
and Rec,
right? The reason why
Schitt's Creek, all that stuff. You just watch that over.
Yeah.
Schitt's Creek's great.
These are all good shows, right? These are all good shows. So,
but it's something you can have on in the background.
It's background noise. It's background noise. You've seen and the reason Frasier is a legitimately brilliantly written show, but
so Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, and Schitt's Creek. So,
but you're not paying attention.
Yeah, exactly. Like you barely pay attention the first time. Like it's just something that's funny that's on, right? It's very low impact stuff. And now that you've seen it 1,000 times, the reason why you're watching it is because it's like Doritos. Like you're not thinking about how good Doritos are when you're eating them. Like you're just like, yeah, I just want something spicy to pass the time with. That's the point of streaming, period. All streaming, period. Yeah. And that's what Disney has done with Star Wars and Marvel and all this stuff. They've tamped it down into completely bland, easily produced, inoffensive toothpaste because they've made Doritos. They've turned everything into Doritos, and that's what people want. That's what I want. And so for me to complain that it's not any good is foolish when I'm asking for it. The problem is that what they have done in getting us to do that is they've said, no, see, and this is when they spent all the money, they're like, here's Severance, and here's these David Fincher films, and here's Scorsese, we're nominated for Best Picture, and all this stuff. They started convincing us for a long time, and I was almost convinced that they made movies.
Ooh, Netflix?
Netflix. And or streaming. They don't. That's not their business. So they got everyone to get out of the movie theaters and subscribe, which is what they want to do. And now they're saying, we're not going to fucking keep making those things, idiots. Of course not. That's too expensive. We have all your subscriptions. And
their business model is not to get your subscriptions. Their business model is to get you to not cancel.
Yes, because that's what changed. It used to be to get everyone to subscribe. That's when they spent all the money, and they got everyone to subscribe. Yeah. Right? Now it has changed. They've gotten everyone to subscribe. Everyone on Earth subscribes to Netflix, right? So now it's retention, and the retention game is simply about putting the things on that keep you from quitting it, which has nothing to do with quality.
I just realized it's like cell phone plans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cell phone plans is quitting the cell phone or quitting your internet provider is like the hardest thing in the world because they keep trying to get you to stay on it.
It's just these little, it's like, oh, well, I do like Frasier. I do like Law. I watch this every night, and like, because the fact is when I come home, off of working, I'm just a generic American, like you're exhausted. You're not going to put on fucking Schindler's List. Like you're not looking for a good movie. You're looking for trash. Eric will. It's weird that he does it every day. But still, this is not what you choose to do, right?
It's Wednesday, Schindler's List Day.
Schindler's List Day. You know what it is, honey.
Oh, yeah. That red rose.
Right. That's it. But I mean, that's nobody wants this. I don't want this. And I'm like the biggest movie fiend in the world, and I still don't go home and watch fucking something super intense. I can't wait to get home and crack out Under the Skin.
But you know what I did yesterday is I watched
that actually is
Ghosted.
Yeah, you watch Ghosted. Exactly. Because when you want Doritos, you want Doritos. When you want steak, you want steak, right? And so
you sound like a commercial from the early 80s.
Right, exactly.
What's steak? But chops. What's a hamburger? But chopstick.
That's a spicy meatball. But yeah, like if you go to a nice restaurant and you're expecting a steak and they give you Doritos, you're pissed off. You're like, I wanted a steak. I didn't want Doritos. When you want Doritos, I don't want a bag of steaks. Like, I want the crunchy, easy, salty, pass the time stuff. Like, that's what streaming is. The only problem is that they spent an enormous amount of money tricking us out of actually watching things that matter to us. Like, and so now you have the movies are going through the problem that they're going through because the stuff that we would normally see at the movies, things like, say, broadcast news. Can you imagine trying to make broadcast news?
You couldn't.
Moon, like you brought up, Chris, which was the best point. Imagine trying to pitch Moon today. Like, you can't make
But that
Moon.
Wasn't that long ago. That's the crazy thing.
Like, Moon, if you pitch Moon, they would immediately say, well, can't you make this into a series? Can't you make this into a Netflix, string it out into like a talkie series? Like, instead of a great work of art that is an hour and a half long, why don't we just beat this to death for 3 seasons and then cancel it? Like, that's what they do.
No. 2 seasons.
2 seasons, sorry.
Yeah, the 3rd season is where you have to pay a lot more money.
Right. And so, like, it has destroyed the middle market completely. The only thing you get now in the movie theater is Dune 2 or nothing. Because even we were just talking about The Fall Guy wasn't at the level.
That did not do well.
It bombed because
really?
It looks like because it's perfectly legitimate. That in any other world prior to this one, that's absolutely legitimate movie fare. Super good, big stars, very entertaining, very funny, worth the money, right?
Mm.
But when we saw the ad, like, it had streaming written all over it.
Oh yeah, I was not impressed by the trailer at all.
Zero.
No.
Yeah.
And I was watching the film. I was like, "This is fun." And within 5 minutes of watching the movie, I was like, "Oh my god, Ryan Gosling is brilliant."
I couldn't believe how much I was laughing the first 5. I was like, "Why didn't they fucking advertise this movie? This movie
is much better, way better."
But that is the level we're at right now. It's like you need to be like $300 million worth of advertisement promising Dune 2 and delivering Dune 2 in order to be in film and movie theater.
There's got to be a different way that people can. Like, I think our theater model is broken too.
Yeah, you also think there's a not enough good directors.
I think there's lots of good directors.
They're
not given the right. They're not given the right opportunities.
Yeah, like there's a good field of directors. They're almost all over 30 right now, right? There is no one being groomed to be the next set of film supporting artists. Like, that's very, very, very rare. And part of that is younger generations are not as interested in film as older generations are. But also, the only way to make money in movies now is to do streaming stuff and streaming style stuff. So they're being, an outside of the box director that thinks of interesting things. Not what sells. That's not the business currently. And so yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Like, I think that there's the combo of the way streaming is working and the way that theaters work. Like, we're in a real jam. Like, theater, I'm not going to fucking spend $200 to go see a middle of the road movie with my family.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah, might as well just stay at home.
Right. I'll see Dune 2, sure. Like, that's worth the time. That's worth the money. But they only get.
What's it from The Office? Rainn Wilson. He went out to see Longlegs or whatever, and he goes, he got a popcorn, a small Coke, and a theater ticket, and it cost him $35.
That's fucking nuts. Movies should
That's
be
insulting
for community prices.
Right.
You should be anybody and be able to see a movie in America. Like
movie theaters used to cost a nickel and popcorn was free.
yeah, it's like this the way. Like I mean,
And it was made in a way to like come here, spend a nickel, and basically get air conditioning. That was what it was sold for.
Well, it's always been a very populist medium, right? That's the idea,
Right.
And I think that's and now I go to see these weird art films. Like those are the movies I see for $7 at weird little theaters. Like if you go to the New Beverly, like that's still I think seven or $10, not 20. Or if you go to there's the Academy Theater in Pasadena is like $7 or $8, and like there's a couple of those around, but almost everything else is $20-$25 a ticket for your 4 to 5 person family. It's like an investment, dude. This is very heavy, and because of this, like it's now like it's making the choice. It's like making the choice to go to Disney World.
Yeah.
Rather than making the choice to go
Disney
out and
World
see
is ridiculously expensive.
Yeah,
oh my
insane.
God.
Like the price they charge to let you into Disney World, and then they charge you more on top of everything is.
My daughter went
Jesus.
there the other day with a friend. It was like last week. She took a friend of hers. It was $4 something.
Yeah.
We dropped them off in the morning and they went, and then they came back. I was like, holy Christ.
Yeah.
Imagine a larger family for 3 days.
What blows me away is I go to Disneyland every now and then with the family. I went there and I was looking at this and I'm seeing these families of like 12 people and they're all wearing their merch and they're staying at a hotel. It's like, that is like $20,000.
Like, how do you fucking do that?
They're all traveling here from like, Tennessee or whatever. And I'm like, what is crazy town?
Yeah. Yeah. It's nuts.
And it's literally living in a fantasy land.
Yeah.
By the way, when I picked her up, I was waiting to pick her up in the pickup area, which is unusual because usually pickup areas are called pickup areas. But do you know how big Disney World is?
Oh, it's huge.
I know it's
40,000 acres.
Right.
Jesus Lord.
No, 40 square miles, 25,000 acres.
That's crazy.
That's huge. Because
Yeah.
I couldn't, in the parking area, I couldn't see any of the attractions. I couldn't see like a tip of a castle or anything. I was like, where is this thing? I was like, what? And because, there's no mountains in Florida. I was like, wait a minute, where's this event? It just trams people to this parking area. Right. It's literally, I had to look it up. It's 40 square miles.
That's insane.
That's pretty big.
Wait, yeah, when you can't see a tall building in Florida,
I couldn't see
far. That is as far away as it gets.
That's nuts. That's a lot of land.
Yeah, that's wild, dude. But no, Disney is investing wholesale in theme park stuff now.
Really?
No, that's where they make their money.
Yeah, they're moving all of their.
That's the whole point of them buying the franchises is to get that, right? They're going to do a whole Avatar land. The only reason they bought Fox is to get Avatar as a franchise.
They don't give a shit about any of the ancillary
nothing else.
X-Men, blah blah blah. Who cares? Avatar's the
actually now is funny because there's a whole article about how X-Men is like, oh shit, maybe we need to give a crap about this because of Deadpool, right?
Oh yeah, sure, because
that's the only Marvel property that they put out this year.
Yeah, and it made a lot of money. It did make a lot of money.
Yep, I'm about to go see it with the family because I want to see it.
I'm interested to see if it's good.
Yeah,
I don't think I even saw Deadpool 2, but yeah, like they've reached.
Deadpool 2 was okay. Deadpool 1 was like that. Was
it's
like
very good. That's a really good movie.
Very.
Yeah,
that was like a kick in the teeth to everyone. It was hilarious.
Like from like what they should be at, right? Like if Deadpool continued on the trajectory that it started, it wouldn't be sellable family fare. It would be funny games. It'd be like a Michael Haneke movie by now, which would be great. Like if you made a Michael Haneke style superhero movie. That would be amazing.
That'd be so great.
That would be amazing.
And Ryan Reynolds was also a cameo, shall we say, in The Ghosted.
Oh God, I got to see that now. That's really funny.
Stupid.
But yeah, dude, I think that like this is my revelation watching Star Wars. Is like I get what they're doing. I understand it. Like I used to be mad, and now I'm just like, okay, They're just turning into the same slurry as everything else. That's the
No,
idea.
it still makes me mad because I just want. There's got to be some. There has to be a change to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's got to be a shift where there's something relevant.
Well, we have to get back the thing
today
that got lost. Like, I don't care that they're making shitloads of Star Wars movies. I'm not concerned with that. Like, there's a block of entertainment that is real and valuable that is not being made right now, and there's nowhere to see it. Like, you can't go to see broadcast news because they won't make something like that for Netflix, and they definitely won't make something like that for theaters
because the people don't want to be challenged that way.
But but there are a couple, like Civil War got made, right? Every now and then
and
it comes through.
And did very, very well, yeah.
And it did well, and they're like, oh.
So people do want that experience.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm saying I think there's something that's going to.
There's a market hole called.
Well, it was just basically we said it before. It's like the '60s. We're like, oh, maybe we should. But make
just
something
to clarify,
besides Westerns.
Civil War is. I love Civil War. I saw it twice. I bought it actually.
Terrific.
But that is not broadcast news. And what I want to say is, can I just quickly?
Yeah, please.
It's we're in an election cycle, so it's really precedent. It can attract people who understand the premise. Even if you just set it to them in line at a picking up food, they'd be like, "Well, we're having elections here. I'd go see that." And it's almost like a video game in a way. Whereas broadcast news, even if you made something similar to that,
nobody wants that. Nobody.
I think Americans don't want to think so much. That's just my feeling.
I think that they are very not used to that. Yeah, I think that there's a like. I think that.
I'm gonna just put it a different way, Eric, because I think you're right. They don't want to think, but it's not that they don't want to think. They don't want anything with ambiguity that's going to force them to think. Well, they want something to tell them how to think.
This is yes.
Well,
I think that this is
yeah.
Exactly.
No, it's true.
Right,
but it's more specific, is what I'm saying.
Right. Because like I said, it's a really good point you make, Eric, with Civil War, because Civil War is like, and I don't mean this as a bad way. It's sort of a trick, right? It tricks you into coming to the movie theater to see this movie, and then gives you a slightly different movie experience than what you expected to have. Right.
It was a little video game like.
It is.
There was some
absolutely. The
beautiful.
action is,
great.
Yeah, 100%. You're totally right.
And it's a great film. But, to make a broadcast news is like, will there ever be another REM type band? And it's, well, that was the 80s, man, where really interesting things were popping out like mushrooms.
Right. So why are people, because people aren't stupid. Why are they uninterested?
I'll tell you why.
Why aren't they searching that out now?
Because your senses are overloaded. You now carry a phone. I was explaining to my daughter today, and Nancy and I were telling my wife, Nancy, like we had to get a phone with a long cord and then close the door and talk to somebody, right? Now it's like you can watch a movie on your phone. Yeah. So you're so desensitized in a way to like things. Like REM came, you're like, what the? By the way, REM beat out Thriller. As the album of the year in '83. So it was like, what? I mean, it's so different and cool because your choices are not a lot, right? On MTV was saturation, and that's the only thing. And all of a sudden you have this unique thing. Unique flowers are hard to grow in this huge astroturf of culture.
Yep.
I sound like an idiot there, but you get my point.
No, I think that's right.
It's really hard to nurture those kind of special flowers.
Right.
And even if they're out there, it's going to be Haneke.
Yeah. Well,
which is great, but I love the little odd flowers. But
yeah. But even for people that do enjoy that experience, like they don't actively seek that out. Right. And I think that if you can reactivate that in people, because I don't think people are dumb. I think you're right. They're just oversaturated. Like if you can find a new way to deliver that experience, makes that a thing.
It's the David Lynch streaming service, and it's all movies. Man. David Lynch and all his favorite films and cool art films, and it's like Tubi.
Yeah.
Heavy ads, but all obscure.
That would definitely.
And then he has meditation classes.
I would actually agree with that very much. I think that's a very good idea.
Saturdays, no move or Fridays, no movies. It's meditation classes, and Monday mornings, meditation
I
classes.
don't think that's a bad idea at all.
And then everything else is cool movies. And then his favorite, he'll host a show Saturday nights where he'll talk about a movie, and you gotta like this.
I watched every single weather report he did when he was doing weather reports on YouTube.
Yeah, but you're weird.
It's true.
But I think
that means if there's one
can
of me,
attract
there's
the
at
people.
least 3 of me. There is an audience out there. I know there's an audience for this stuff.
I know, right? But look at it. I mean, I hate to say it to reflect back, but look at our podcast. We have some great people who really enjoy this podcast.
You're all incredible. Nothing
and
what we're saying applies to any of you in chat.
But it's not like they're knocking down the doors and wanting,
For sure. But
right?
isn't this just a habit?
But it doesn't
thing?
matter. You're
No,
and you
I'm
grow.
not saying that's bad. I'm not trying to appeal
You're
to
saying
the
it's
masses.
bad, right, Dan?
I know.
No, I'm just saying there's no money in it. I'm just
okay. Yeah, there's no. You don't have any money. No, like what I'm saying is, the bad thing that is happening, right? That is bad for everybody, right? Is that we? I think you're right, Eric. With being distracted, it's like there's so much stuff all the time that we lose our ability to pay attention long term in the way that you need to get to the deeper feelings and interesting things that happen when you engage something like even broadcast news, which is a very entertaining, funny movie, let alone Stalker, just that much investment of your attention is very difficult to come by, right? For anybody. Doesn't matter smart or dumb, left or right, anything like that. And I actually think that there's loads of great, super creative stuff happening on TikTok. There's loads of great, super creative stuff happening on YouTube. And there's nothing bad about the speed at which information is delivered. But what we end up with is an incredibly wide, very shallow lake of information.
Well, that's
experience.
The whole point of viral. Things going viral. I mean, just remember that term, right? It's been around for 20, 30 years or so, whatever. Yeah. But it's like, it's gone viral. That's a weird thing to think about, right? Yeah. Just even the way that people say that, it's like it's spread like a virus, right?
Yeah.
But it's so quick, right? The whole point of things that are going viral is that it's there and then it's gone and replaced by the next thing so quickly.
Do you guys,
right now, it's just about that Turkish shooter guy. That's all the internet's about right now. You go to the internet.
Shooter guy? Who's the Turkish shooter? I don't even know if I know this one.
The guy in the Olympics.
Oh yeah, the Turkish shooter. Because for instance,
shooter?
There's a guy in the Olympics. If you don't know,
it'll
there
be
you
gone
go.
By tomorrow, doesn't matter.
Oh, he was so casual.
Yeah.
Not killing people, but the marksman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I saw that. I was crazy. He was just like.
But now it's just nothing but memes about him. Nothing but that's it.
I don't mean to shock anybody, but 3-ish weeks ago, there was a major political assassination attempt.
Oh, yeah.
We have forgotten happened.
I know.
That's exactly what I'm putting out there.
Folks, that's not like a little blip of entertainment. That's extraordinarily dangerous and serious that happened.
Yep.
Yeah, but here's the deal. Even if it's not a candidate you like, and I know you guys are big supporters of Trump, but let me finish, Dan. But I know you're a big supporter of Trump. Let me finish, Dan.
Okay,
don't interrupt me.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
But the point is,
fight.
Even if it was another candidate, what if it succeeded? The instability that it would have created in our country is crazy.
Yeah.
It would have. And it was like, holy
It's amazing
moly.
to me that has disappeared.
Yeah, no,
it's weird. You're right.
That's not super healthy of us
to
have moved on from that.
No, that's the thing is it was big news for a little bit. It was a slight conspiracy theory. The fact that it wasn't a bullet that actually hit his ear.
Yeah.
That went away.
That was dumb. Whoever came up with that conspiracy theory.
Yeah, of course.
Stupid.
We just covered Winter Kills.
Dan.
Yes, exactly.
That's exactly what this is about.
Yeah. But this is what I mean, because I actually made a conscious decision just a few weeks ago to just at breakfast, when I make my coffee and my oatmeal and sit down, I put my phone on the other side of the table face down, right? And instead, I pick up whatever novel I'm reading and read that, right? Because I haven't finished I had not finished a novel reading a novel in over a year, which for me is like, that's like, I haven't eaten anything in 7 weeks. Like it's impossible to imagine. And I started actually finishing all these unfinished books that I have in my house, and my creativity has gone up. My focus has gone way up. Like my ability to like manage my own anxieties has gone up. And like it's just from linear thinking and letting myself focus on a simple thing for a decent period of time that is actually quite life-changing. And we don't live in an environment that allows for that right now. Everything that we experience is given to us via apps designed by Las Vegas slot machine computer designers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not good. Like that's just not good at all. And it's ended us up with like movies, like something like, for instance, I've seen Apocalypse Now like a billion times, right? But I never casually watch Apocalypse Now. I watch the whole thing when I watch it. I sit down to
Like
watch the entire movie.
Yes.
Yeah, like I'm going to choose to watch Apocalypse Now. Like this is an event. And I can't think of anything like that movie, not even remotely like that movie, in any media for the past 15 years. There's nothing at all that even comes close to trying to do that at all, period. And that's not good for us. Like we need to have things to think deeply about and experience deeply. And we don't have a channel to do that on. And in between those
we
two
don't
points,
have a way to do it anymore. That's what I'm getting at. The point being is like the theater system is broken right now. If you look at AMC and the way it's built on a cash spending machine system that is not
it's unsustainable.
Enable us to do anything, right? You can't do anything less than $100 billion.
Yeah,
it's just not worth it.
It's a better bet for studios to go, we will fund the $300 million for Dune 2 and the $300 million of print and advertising for Dune 2, and on top of that, that's a better bet to us than Moon, which is what?
Crazy.
$20 million less.
Mm.
Like it's insane. Like everything is giant bets, and that's the only thing you can do. And the people who have to pay for those giant bets are us. So ticket prices are what they are. And it's just that like, and we're getting less and less nutrition out of it. And then we go home feeling like, oh fuck, man, I just don't have any nutrition, so I'll eat a big bag of Doritos. You're like, oh no, like that loop is not healthy to be in.
Well, let's cover depressing. How do you get back from the war? Cutter's Way.
Cutter's Way. Okay, so let's talk about.
I couldn't find a good transition there. But.
No, that's a good one. I like that one. So Cutter's Way, a very interesting movie. Yes. Like
yes.
Yeah, I like that. Is that the guy from Breaking Away too?
Ooh, Cutter?
I don't know. No, the director.
Yeah.
No, that Breaking Away is the same guy who directed.
Not the director, but the guy that played Cutter.
The guy who played Cutter is the dad from Home Alone.
Yeah, no, it's John Hurd.
Yeah.
John Hurd.
But he was in something else.
Yeah, he's been in tons.
He's been in
from the late 70s, early 80s. That was really big. I thought it was Breaking Away. I was like, is that the Breaking Away guy?
I have a feeling
what I'm talking
that
about, Dan.
Some of these actors were trying to see this movie as a way of them becoming big dramatic actors.
Yes.
And
Cutter
totally overdoing it in a lot.
He was so over the top. You know what it was like? It was like the level of drama acting as The Razor's Edge.
Yes.
Like some of the stuff.
Yeah, it's very stage struggle. Struggle. And there's a bunch of
roommates in New York City working.
Yeah.
The most subtle and well acted, like believable character was Jeff Bridges.
Absolutely,
because he just was naturally
Jeff Bridges
beautiful.
And the woman
so
playing,
he's just doing his
John Hurt's
thing.
wife. Like Jeff Bridges and the woman playing John Hurt's wife are the really good part of the movie. Like they're the talented part of the movie.
Well, she was also a little bit overdue.
I think that her
Hand me
character.
the bottle. Now I know that's bad writing.
Her character is a little overwritten. I think there's like she's trying to make overwritten stuff work, and she's trying to take Bridges' lead, and like a lot of their stuff, like once they get into more subtle stuff, you go like, okay, these guys are actually pretty great together. John Hurd, who has been good in other things, like this is a ham sandwich of a role. Like it is, it's like written to be ham, and it's got mustard all over it, and it's a deli special.
You introduce his character at the bar at the beginning, a little right from the beginning.
Yeah, like he's like, I'm an actor and I'm doing a character with an eye patch and shit and all this stuff. And like it's not that it's bad. It's very consistent. It's a very consistent performance. But you can there's a hair's breadth of description between say what he's doing and what Daniel Day-Lewis is doing in There Will Be Blood.
I can't hear you. You got to get the mic close.
Daniel Day-Lewis, like you look at what Daniel Day-Lewis is doing in There Will Be Blood. It's the same kind of thing, but that's perfectly done. It's a very high risk thing to try to do, and if you don't absolutely nail it like that, then you end up with this, which is like best community theater excited performance of the year. And like it's tricky. It's very tricky. But even with that, there's interesting good parts to this movie that I think are worth talking about. But you are going to you run headlong into some very, very overt Midnight Express. Not Midnight Express. What's the train movie where...
was he in Midnight Express, Hurd?
No, it's not. I was not Midnight Express. What's the train movie where it's on... Oh, Runaway Train.
Runaway Train.
Like,
I like that movie, though.
I really enjoy Runaway Train. Like, that's a really fun movie. That's a great story. It's a Kurosawa story.
A little over the top.
But the acting is like as caricature as possible. He's like fucking what's his name? Voight with the one eye. Just like, is this a pirate movie? What is this thing? It's bizarre.
It reminds me of there's an episode of Frasier where they Niles and Frasier find like an old actor that they were so admired in their childhood. He's a Shakespearean actor, and apparently now he's like plays a cyborg on a show. It's basically like a Star Trek actor.
Yeah.
Right? And he's signing autographs at a Star Trek. And he's like, oh my God, he was such a good actor. What is he doing these horrible roles? He should be back on the stage. And so they decided they're going to put on a big play for him so he can go back to reprise himself. It's like, oh, back to the theater. I'm so excited. Right. And then they put him on the stage and they realize he's a horrible actor. They just didn't see it as a kid.
Right.
And he's like, winter is the winter of my discontent. Like, it's like,
oh God,
so over the top. And I'm like, that's what it's like. So when he does, when he does his like holding court in the bar thing, I'm like,
that is community theater bananas right there.
But it's also written that way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. It's overcooked. It's overcooked through and through overcooked. And so like, because there's also movies like, I feel this way about what's it called? Is it Pope Greenwich Village?
Yes.
Like that's another ham sandwich movie where it's like, it's not that it's bad. It's just that like, you're just like what? Super McCain, Charlie, Super McCain. You're just like, guys, what the fuck are you doing? You know, and it's because like, these are all the post Brando generation. And it really emphasizes like, you can do, for lack of a better word, stagey performances extremely well. Like it is a style that's totally valid. But if you don't do it right, it's awful. And like anybody who's trying to like, oh man, I just want to be like Brando. And that's just like, oh brother.
This movie is not awful. I'm just going to.
It's not awful. But you want to get that out of the way first because that's what people are going to run into.
Yeah. It's not an awful film. In fact, it's a pretty good film.
Yeah.
Bridges is great in it.
That's the actual thing.
And it looks cool. It's well shot.
It's Jordan Cronenweth who shot Blade Runner. It's a really, really good looking movie.
Really good looking.
And part of the reason, like,
want to see, Santa Barbara, this
is fucking great. Yeah, it's a great looking picture. And Jeff Bridges, like, it's not like it's too long of a story for his character arc. Like his character arc is actually pretty short, and so the movie.
Bridges' character.
Yeah. Like it's like his character is a classic. Like, I don't want to change character, and it just takes a lot for him to finally try to change. And it sort of strains it.
But you don't see enough of him to feel that change.
Yeah.
Like, you know on the surface what he's like and a little bit of a cad, but you're not allowed in there because what's his name takes over the scene.
He's just eating
By the way, his friend with the Joffers, that was from Axel Foley, Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah.
I thought the same thing. That's very funny. Yeah. But yeah, like but what
he
is
did a great
interesting-
job as like just like a rich kid at
Yeah.
the marina. He was
Yeah.
great.
That was pretty funny. That was pretty good. But like the thing that makes like what's really interesting is that because John Hurd is eating graham crackers with the script, like it gets in the way of of Bridges' character, but it also really points out how fucking great Jeff Bridges is. Because you see the two of them in the scene together, and you're like, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it right. Like it just he stands out so brightly in this movie. You're just like, I wish the movie were giving you more to do, because what you're doing with what you have is sort of startling. You know, he's extraordinarily good in this thing. I wonder if it's this movie more than anything else that lifted him up into the 80s path that he ended up on. Because like,
I mean, it could be that he looked at this and goes, as long as I'm not doing that.
Was
Yeah,
he
as
in
long as
One
I'm not
from the
doing this,
Heart around there?
don't know. Look, say One from the Heart. That's no, One from the Heart is the Coppola movie, right?
Yep.
Let's see. Let's see. What is he doing around this time? So Bridges at this period, Jesus has been in a bunch of movies. Popular actor. All right, here we go.
So late 70s, early 80s.
Late 70s. We're gonna kick it up to, here we go. Winter Kills. Starting with Winter Kills.
Which was what year?
That is 79.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Heaven's Gate, which I love. I think
I
it's a
love
great film.
Heaven's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
He has a small role in Heaven's Gate. He's in Tron, which didn't do many favors, but was a landmark. Last Unicorn, Fairy Tale Theater. Okay, so like this is where he hits it. He starts doing. This is his 80s run.
Against all odds.
Against all odds.
Great.
Starman, which he's nominated for Best Actor for.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a great fucking movie, by the way. Corny as hell, but amazingly good. Jagged Edge.
Yeah, love that film.
Great thriller. 8 Million Ways to Die, which is a Hal Ashby movie, which is weird that it's a Hal Ashby movie, but it's interesting.
That was Ashby's last film then.
That was Ashby's, and it basically got taken away from him. Okay, I'm sorry. So Cutter's Way, I missed it. It's right after Heaven's Gate.
Yeah.
So this is the movie that people go, fuck, he looks good with his shirt off, and he can act. And then it takes them at least 3 years to find something for him. And it's Against All Odds.
I love Against All Odds.
That's good. That's a good movie. And he's fucking hot as.
She is.
Yeah, both of them together. Jesus Christ. So Against All Odds is the one where he takes off, and that rides through till The Morning After, which kind of fails. Then he's got Tucker and Fabulous Baker Boys, which is fucking great. And then he's kind of out of the scene for a while, and he comes back slightly with Fearless, which is a great film. And then he's sort of floating around up until Big Lebowski. But Big Lebowski is the next thing that opens up for him. But that's it. It's basically this. Cutter's Way is the thing that puts him on casting radar, I think. And he is really, really, really notable. And the movie itself, it has a perspective that I did not think of before. Then it has to do with John Hurd's character. It's an over the top character, obviously, but John Hurd is a Vietnam War vet. He lost an arm and his legs
That's
messed
the
up.
thing that's weird. Like, you don't really know if he really is a Vietnam War vet because he keeps saying, I didn't see any action or whatever, but that's obviously what he is.
So the two of them kind of represent the two ends of boomer culture at the time. Like Jeff Bridges is he's not a rich kid, but he's got this sort of like, I wasn't really a part of that.
Well, he went to an Ivy League school.
Privileged, yes, exactly. He's got the privileged Jeff Bridges character.
Of course, yes.
Right? And then
he has a little prep school saunter about him.
Prep school saunter, exactly, all that stuff. And then you have the John Hurd character who like was obviously destroyed by the war, whether or not he, really fought hard in or anything, but it messed him up. And this is it was really interesting. I'd never thought about it this way because right now it's still popular to be like, boomers are evil, right? Boomers are the bad people, right? And I'm like, it never really occurred to me that largely the boomers are the ones who went through Vietnam, right?
Yeah.
And John Hurt's character represents his plot is I used to be essentially a flower child, and then I was so crushed and dismayed by what my country put me through that I just want the fucking money now. That's his plot. And I was like, this movie absolutely nails the boomer problem.
You owe me.
Yeah. Like I used to be idealistic and you destroyed me and now I am selfish and I want payback. And I was like, that's really, I don't know of too many other movies that actually nail that the way that they do here, whether or not it's overwritten or not. I think it's a really, really poignant thing to have said, because like I'm not a fan of generationalism anyway, but I like the way that, you know, boomers are just old people are bad and boomers are bad. I'm just like, I mean, they were in fucking Vietnam, dude. Like, lighten up a little bit. Nobody, starting with my generation, has been through that shit.
No.
Like, there's plenty of us who, like, plenty of Gen X that went through Middle Eastern stuff, and that's
Listen,
really
we
hard.
had to endure the Kardashians for so long.
But man, oh man, like if you went through Vietnam, I'd expect you'd be wanting some fucking money too. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, oh, it turns out everything is a scam. Your government hates you and finds you disposable. And then you come back home.
Hey, they still do that
killer.
to veterans today. It's really pathetic.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah, it's hideous. Like,
It's
I mean,
really
this
bad.
is like coming from a completely super leftist point of view. Like, here's my one thing to say on all that stuff.
You know who true heroes are? Like people like Gary Sinise. Have you seen what he does?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. What does he do for veterans?
He has these foundations.
He has a foundation. You should look it up, man. His foundation is one of the biggest veteran foundations out there. It's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah. And in fact, he flew out 100 kids to Disneyland.
Oh, that's amazing. That's nice.
He does these incredible things, or more than 100 kids. It was crazy.
That's great.
He's he's completely given up acting. All he does is find ways to support veterans and their families.
How did he make all his money? What movies was it?
Forrest Gump, that kind of stuff.
Forrest Gump. That's right.
Character actor for a long time. But like, yeah, I mean, like, I'm both glad that he's doing that, and I'm glad that I didn't know he was doing that. Like, he's not trying to be like.
Oh no, you're exactly right.
You know?
The problem I have is that the government should do that. We shouldn't have to
the government should fucking do
volunteers.
this.
Of course, and they don't do it.
Absolute disgrace how we treat
and
veterans.
what's
It's insane.
biggest irony is the ones that are supposedly the biggest military supporters are the ones that are taking it away.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, when I say the government, I mean us. Like, which is how government works, everybody. The government is us. That's what it is. It's our responsibility to do that, and we don't do it. That's the thing that pisses me off. I mean, like, this is like, it's all with all this stuff. Like, yes, you can be mad about whatever. Say Vietnam is a cruel disaster that should not have happened and cost the lives of millions of people. And you know what? The reason it happened is because we asked for it to happen. That's what happened. Like, it's not some evil force that made this happen. It was what you're asking for every single day when you buy things. That's why these things happen. It's your responsibility, and you have the control of the vote. So take control of that. Like, if you don't like wars in the Middle East, pay attention to why they happen, because, spoiler alert, the answer is you. Like, that's why that happens with the cars you drive and the things you want and the cell phones that you want and all that shit.
But I want it.
Yeah. And so when you say like, oh, these fucking military jerk-offs with the blah, 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 if you don't like them doing that, stop hiring them to do that for you. That's the answer.
Yeah, voting works.
Voting works. Look at that. But yeah, talk about winter kills, man. Like, the idea that we have no control over our government is why we have no control over our government. Yeah. We love that story because we can complain and do nothing at the same time.
Oh, that's been the song for a long time.
But it's easier to complain.
Don't vote because it doesn't matter. Don't vote because it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Pay attention to what happens.
You'll never have to vote again.
That's the best way to suppress votes, is to tell people that their vote doesn't matter.
Vote doesn't matter, exactly. Whereas, like, voting locally, I say who your police, like who gets to appoint your major figures in the police. Like, it's important who you choose for that role, because if you don't, it can turn into a bunch of criminals with heavy weapons. Just saying. If it's of interest to you, you have the power to change that, and you should. But yeah, like this is like Cutter's Way. I was like, that's a beautifully stated idea that I wish again the filmmaking around it were better. Because it could have been a really powerful thing that made a mark instead of being a little bit, community theater, which is unfortunate because the movie has great bits, really great bits. And it's a kind of a cool, lazy Private Eye movie. And if you step back,
Lazy Private Eye,
it's The Big Lebowski. Like,
oh
this
my
movie
God!
is The Big
the
Lebowski.
way he was in when he went to the sheriff's office.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
I was like, to
Not in
Nancy,
this community.
Yeah.
that's what I said to Nancy. I said, that's Lebowski. That's what the Coen brothers
All
saw.
he needed to do
The
was just
Coen
throw a
brothers saw
freaking
that
coffee
isolation
bottle in
that
his
he
head.
had in home
Yeah.
and the way he was, and they said, we want Jeff Bridges like from Cutter's Way.
Yeah, and we want John Goodman to play John Hurd's role, and then we're good.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you're
basically
right.
the Big Lebowski.
Vietnam. This isn't Nam, man. There are rules.
There are rules.
I didn't even put it together. This is the Big Lebowski.
Dan, you're on the same page because I literally pointed to Nancy. I was like, "My God, this is Lebowski. This is what they saw." And
It's
she's
fucking
like,
hysterical.
"Wait," I said, and I explained it to her, and she was like, "Yeah, you're kind of right." And I was like, "No,
The Big
even the
Lebowski
sheriff's. That's where it hit me in the sheriff's office."
Yeah. The Big Lebowski is Corbin, right? It's like it's the whole it's exactly the same plot. Well,
You're
Big
right.
Lebowski makes it even more meaningless and silly, but it's the same setup, the same plot.
Yep.
And
then the guy who owns the yacht club, that's Donnie.
that's basically that's Donnie. Exactly. It's really fucking funny, man.
That is
Like,
Donnie.
This is first pass Lebowski. It's really, really
It
great.
is. I never even put this
And
together.
there's such cinephiles that they would
They
would
saw
pull
it
from
for
that
sure.
shit.
Oh, 100%.
For sure. Yeah, 100. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Yeah, they're like, I know it would make this thing better. Keep that guy, and let's change just a few other notes.
Didn't. Oh wait. Goodman has an eye patch in one of the scenes.
It's like fucking, like they just like they and not
Does
only that,
he
they
really?
shoot in the same fucking
Yes.
diner. They shoot in the same diner. Like the diner, like it's the across from the academy. You know,
Yeah, that's
what-
right. On Wilshire and
on Wilshire.
Fairfax.
Yeah. There's a scene.
My old
where
neighborhood.
you want a toe, dude? That diner is also in
This is a family restaurant.
I can get you a toe.
I can
You want
get
it?
you a
I'll
toe.
get you it.
It's so fucking funny.
Walter, I don't need a toe. I'm exercising
I
my
have buddies that
rights.
died face down in the muck.
I'm going to finish my coffee.
It's so fucking funny.
Yeah, I never put it together, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It is the Big Lebowski,
Yeah, man.
and the fact that it's in Santa Barbara is just.
It's like because Eric and I read. I was like, does this take place in Venice?
It was
And
the sheriff scene that got me.
It's the sheriff's-
And the way and then when the rest of the movie, I'm like, wait, the way he's just kind of like looking for a shirt, but kind of half drunk and watching John Hurd fight with his girlfriend. And I was like sitting in the chair. I'm like, that's Lebowski.
This is it. It's so fucking
Dude,
good.
Walter, man. Like, whatever, man.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think that's like there's so many things in this movie that.
And by the way, when he's going through the mansion, same thing.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it has a Lebowski mansion vibe. That mansion. It's not the same.
100%.
Yeah, but it's basically the same setup, you know. And like
It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's really really funny. I would love to talk to. There's certain filmmakers where I'm just like, okay, just be honest with me. Stanley Kubrick, did you see Stripes and then make Full Metal Jacket? Was that what you did? And this
Well,
would
wait,
be it.
Stripes was
Harold
after.
Ramis, 79. No, before.
I think it's before. I'm going to say it's before.
Stripes is 79, 80, and Full Metal is 86, 87, right?
Yeah, Stripes is 81.
Oh, Full
Yeah.
Metal Jacket. Sorry,
Metal Jacket,
I would. Sorry, I was saying Doctor Strangelove. Yes.
Yeah, like it's the Stanley Kubrick version versus the original Bill Murray version. It's split into two. Like you have the training half and you have the
Oh,
vision
yeah.
half. Yeah, it's same business.
Okay.
And I
so,
wish more filmmakers would do this. I think it's a great idea.
yeah, I didn't even put his. Let's just talk about the plot of the movie real quick.
Sure.
Okay, so it's essentially like Jeff Bridges is the prettiest of all pretty boys, right? He's essentially a gigolo, right?
Yeah, right.
Essentially, He's at the El Encanto restaurant hotel in Santa Barbara, one very famous.
He's picking up older ladies and
he's having sex with older ladies and asking them for money. After
buy
that,
the boat.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and the thing is, once you get a little bit of Bridges' backstory, you're like, you don't have to be doing this. Like,
yeah, but he loves. But that's the thing that they pointed out in the film. He actually likes the fact that he's the pretty boy and gets all the girls.
Yes, exactly.
Because even Cutter's wife, who he does eventually sleep with, she says, "Now you've conquered all of them, even the ones he never could." Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he conquers. He's basically any woman wants to have sex with him, and I don't blame him because he's very attractive.
Jesus
right?
Christ, dude. Yeah.
So, or any straight woman.
Yep.
So, he is driving a Austin Healey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Crappy little car. Drives away from his escapades with the lady. Car breaks down in an alleyway. Like screw it, and then it's raining. And another car tries to run him over. A big car tries to run him over. He's trying to escape and realize something happened in the car behind. Can't quite figure it out. And he goes, just leaves it, lets it be, and then goes to a bar where he meets his friend, played by John Hurd, who is holding court at this divey bar and like making all kinds of grandiose statements about
racist statements
about Shakespeare and Moby Dick or whatever. He's being an asshole.
He's just being a fucking He's he's a smart guy who is a loudmouth asshole.
Right?
Yeah.
And starts to it starts getting to racist things as well. Also, but we find out very quickly that the thing that Jeff Bridges walked away from when the guy in the big car dumped a body into a trash can. Right.
The guy who never takes off his glasses.
Yes. Right. The what's his name from Cool Hand Luke?
Right.
He's done very well with the prison system, and now he's investing in boats, in arenas.
So, but then Jeff Bridges goes back to John Hurd's house with where he lives with his wife, who's played by, I forgot her name, the actress. But she is drinking in a very dramatic way,
very
theatrical way.
Yes,
she just walks around with a bottle of vodka in her hand.
Like whoever the screenwriter thinks he's doing Tennessee Williams, right? And it's not.
That was totally Tennessee.
That's right.
Like it's just not
like a cat on a hot tin roof.
Yeah, like the thing is, like I say, man.
Oh, Brick, must you?
If you do that shit right, it's great. Like if everyone's acting at the same level, the stylization becomes a world that you experience.
Jeff Bridges is playing it subtle. He's like,
it's not
goes to give her a hand to get up. She goes, "Don't give me a hand, give me the bottle."
Yeah, and it's just like it sounds like a bunch of people quoting another movie. Like you're just like you're not in a fucking Elizabeth Taylor movie. What are you doing? Like you're in a very realistically shot, grungy Santa Barbara movie.
Looks good.
Yeah, it looks great.
So anyway, so his husband comes home. There's this insinuation that they basically like their marriage is not very solid. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
And they're like, you guys had your own plans this evening, says the husband, right? Played by. Right. So it's just all crazy. Anyway, point is, murder was witnessed essentially, but he doesn't realize that he witnessed the murder. They find his car, which broke down near the site of the murder. They take him into the police station in Santa Barbara, and they interrogate him hard about this. At which point he's like, explains that he was what happened, and he essentially walks away. But he ends up meeting the sister of the girl that was murdered,
who doesn't act like she's in grief at all.
Yeah, no. Zero. And you think that's gonna be a plot point, but it's not.
No, but she's totally like, I don't know if she was on 8 is enough or something, but she's like, well, hey guys, my sister died and I'm really upset, but I'm also hungry. I want a Cobb salad. What do you guys want? Do you want to split the Cobb salad and then order the fish and we can split the fish too?
Like the whole thing plays like it's a gag that you're going to lead up to the fact that she's the killer, right? That's what it's basically lining up. And then they just drop it completely.
No. And then she just becomes this weird sex symbol that's just strange.
Yeah, it's real strange. Very strange.
So essentially now they're like going to find the murderer. And then they're at the parade in Santa Barbara and Jeff Bridges is like, wait a minute, that's the guy I saw behind in the car. Right. Realizing what he saw, because he had to go through the story the whole time over and over with the cops. It's like, I did see a Cadillac. I didn't know.
And it had 4 wheels and lights.
But I couldn't see it because it was raining. But then after he sees a guy in the parade, and it's like, that's the guy. And then so at which point, Cutter says,
annoying John Hurt. It's like, it to
like,
the point,
that's
Chris.
what we're going to do. We're going to nail that guy.
I missed a lot of plot points because he was annoying the shit out of me. I was like, I can't hear this anymore. And I don't know what he just said, but let's keep going.
So who would like not to derail the actual plot line here, but like who would you?
That's his white whale. It's his white whale because you don't.
Do you know who would be great?
Give him a wooden leg and an eye patch. Just
you know who would have been good?
Yeah,
a young Benicio del Toro.
Oh yeah, sure, okay, yeah, I love that. I love del Toro. That's a good choice. Is there anyone today that you besides Timothy Chalamet?
Yes.
Who would you cast?
Zane.
For who?
That's Guy Zane. If you want to make it funny,
like
who's the one in? Hold on, in the J-Lo movie.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or Jake Gyllenhaal, but the guy that's in the movie, a younger version of him, was J-Lo was in the Soderbergh film with George Clooney.
Oh, great.
That I love.
Yeah, Out of Sight. Yeah.
Out of Sight. He's the goofy guy. He's like, oh, don't arrest me. Zane.
Oh, he's funny. Yeah. That's not Zane. A bit. Oh, Steve Zahn. Got it.
Yes.
Steve Zahn.
A younger him would have been perfect.
Yeah. No, like, yeah, because I think that like there's this is another one where I'm like, if you were
not
to make
too
this
angry
today, like you could make this movie to get today, and like if you have Jake Gyllenhaal as that character and have him play it lower, like where he's
a little bit,
a little.
Don't
lower.
mention Shakespeare.
Yeah, like where he's more of like a, like how can I say it? Like where he's like like he's making these really abrasive points, but they are so well stated that you're like, oh, fuck, that's a good point, but I don't like what you're saying. Like then that's an interesting character. Like then it's like a Tyler Durden-ish kind of character, and it's more fun. But this guy is a fucking drag. Like this is someone who you would not be friends with.
But what I can just tell.
Yeah, like, why is he hanging out with him?
Like I can tell that he basically like, I am gonna be a big. I'm gonna win an Oscar for this. Like he's trying. He's going far, way too far.
Yeah. No, like it's like I admire. Like I like big swings. And like there's an aspect to this because like I think that he actually is good when he's not doing his shtick. There's a couple of moments when he's just like a person, and when you're just like, oh, that's the real guy, and so that means that all the other stuff that's annoying is a shtick,
right? And
that's a performance that the character is putting on as a defense mechanism. And so like I can see that he's trying to make that work, and then in the subtler parts it does work, but it's just that the shtick itself isn't something as a character in that world I would put up with. Like,
yes, why is he hanging out with him?
Hanging out with that guy? Yeah, like that is an unlikable.
I think they were high school friends or whatever. I think that's their old group.
It's not enough.
That's the thing is like these people never left. There was a little bit of they never left the town and it just made the most of it, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that's a little bit of that.
Yeah, and there's a great sadness to be played there. But
this is the sequel to Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, exactly. That's like I've always said like the actual sequel to Ferris Bueller's Day Off is
it's a tragedy.
Yeah, it's like it's real fucking. It's where you're just like he turns into a total fucking asshole. He turns into a rich asshole, and like she's like they were married, but she's divorced, and she ends up with some random douchebag. Right. Like that's the movie I want to see. But it's like Matthew Broderick in Election is who Ferris Bueller turns into.
Right.
Yeah.
But in any case, like I think that there's some actual real post-traumatic Vietnam War stress that could be processed by this very movie. And they just don't land it. They just don't put it in the right place. And they make him very, very abrasive and annoying and performative in a way that's inaccessible. And
so Cutter wants to solve the murder that he has nothing to do with.
That's right.
Right. And the only thing that Jeff Bridges did is he witnessed something and he gave his statement, and that's all he needs to do. That's the end of the whole thing.
Right.
But somehow Cutter's like, we gotta solve this, and he's obsessed that it's the guy.
He wants attention.
Even Jeff Bridges, like, I don't know if that's the guy. I just told you he looked like that guy.
So there's the sympathetic way to play that, right, is to say, like, he wants to have some sort of order and control in his life. That's why he wants someone to blame that he can execute.
He wants
that
attention.
blame on. He wants
attention.
To pay
attention to him.
He wants to be known as someone who suffered, and this is who is to blame, right? And on the side, my fucking super sexy jerk off Ivy League asshole who didn't even go to the war has to go through the fucking grind, right? Like, I'm making you.
He's extending the problems for him.
Right. So you're going to suffer what I suffer.
Yeah, I'm going to basically go to the bee's nest and hit it. Yeah. Because you think. And
I'm going to make you all pay.
But Jeff doesn't really put a stop to it. He just kind of is like, come, Walter, what are you doing, Walter?
Exactly.
Walter.
Which actually, like, that's a great way to put it, because it's like, it gives me more insight into the Big Lebowski's relationship to John Goodman, or rather Jeff Lebowski's relationship to John Goodman, where it's like the reason, like Walter wants everyone to pay him respect because he feels like he was like the thing that was most central and important in his life is ignored. Like he just wants someone. It's like attention must be paid to such a man, right? But you know why Jeff Lebowski loves Walter. Like, it's very clear, in as annoying as Walter can be, you also know why Jeff loves him. And I'm in Cutter's way, I'm like, I would definitely stop fucking hanging out with that guy.
Yes.
Like, that's that. So yes, he pushes Jeff Bridges to
but Jeff Bridges is also, I hate to say it, but Jeff Bridges, on purpose, and he does it really well, is played as a weak character who just goes along with whatever. Right? Including the crazy antics that Cutter does.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep, exactly. Like, because they provide some.
But he doesn't need to be strong because everything comes to him.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but this is the only thing he has. This is the only thing he actually.
I know, but isn't that what great paintings are made of? It's like the handsome guy, and he has never to worry about it, and then all of a sudden he's got rolls around his waist. And,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, good.
There's a like, Bridges is like, they don't give him enough, but it's a good character for him.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, good. Like,
one of the best films I saw is the one he did with his brother, the piano players.
Oh yeah, Fabulous Baker Bros. That's great. That's a fucking totally forgotten movie. That's a great movie.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Like, he captures such a great dynamic too, as real brothers. It's really cool.
That is a beautiful, heartbreaking, wild little movie, and people just forgot that it existed. I think that people basically forgot that Jeff Bridges was an actor before Big Lebowski, and he's fucking great in everything. He's a great actor, and like he's great in fucking King Kong. Like, he doesn't need to be great in King Kong. He's sort of funny that he's great in King Kong, but him and Jessica Lange in King Kong, they're in some other great acting-driven film, and then the rest of the movie is like ridiculous. And that's what makes it amazing.
Yeah,
like they're absolutely fucking, they're acting for, like Gone with the Wind, and De Laurentiis is like, here's a guy in a monkey suit. What do you think?
Here's a guy in a monkey suit.
That is my favorite King Kong of all the King Kongs that have been made. Like, I respect the first King Kong. But the only thing I love about old King Kong is when they finally get to the island and they're in visual effects land. It's so insanely beautiful and well done.
I love that world.
It's incredible. That's a beautiful world. Prior to that, the main actor is a fucking stone. He's terrible. And all the talking.
Do you believe it? Yes, I do.
Talk about ham sandwich, man. That stuff is awful.
But science.
Yeah, so terrible. But if you're looking for a bang for your buck in a monkey movie, you can do a lot worse than 1976 King Kong. That thing, Charles Grodin's in it. Like, that should be the only thing on the poster. King Kong, starring Charles Grodin.
It's weird to think he's dead.
I know. I love him. I loved him so much.
I love the thing about King Kong that I loved was it's like, it just needs a few million years to cook.
It's so fucking good. It's so, like, King Kong has this awesome John Barry score, like this great, big, crazy, fantastic score. And then
Mike closer.
Oh, so I'm gonna fix this right now. Bring this up.
By the way, Jack, the same guy that did the Razor's Edge soundtrack, the composition.
Nietzsche.
Yeah.
Jack Nietzsche, yeah.
Love that guy.
Yeah, he's great. He did Starman as well. Really beautiful soundtrack. Brilliant stuff. And people forgot about him too. He's a great
I think he also was 60s, sound producer for like, I'll have to look him up again. It was like Beach Boy. I'll get back to you. Hold on a second. I'll tell you right now, lads.
Yeah, he's really something.
He did like, not the Beach Boys, but hold on. Yeah, Jack Nietzsche.
Yeah.
Alfred Jack Nietzsche was an American musician. He was Phil Spector's guy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So he did Rolling Stones. He was hired by Sonny Bono at the time, where he wrote a novelty hit called Bongo Bongo Bongo. He wrote to Bono the song Needles and Pens for Jackie Del Shannon. So he wrote Needles and Pens, recorded by the Searchers. Mm-hmm. Phil Spector, he worked for and orchestrated The Wall of Sound, which was huge. That's how I know him.
Yeah.
River Deep Mountain High for Ike and Tina. I'm sorry, I'm taking a little side road here.
Mm-hmm.
Earl Palmer, Leon Russell, Roy Cotton, Glenn Campbell, Carol Kane, Hal Blaine, great musicians. And he worked for the Beach Boys and the Monkees. And he did all the music for the Tammy Show, which is a huge deal. Turned on my VCR, same tape as I had for years. James Brown and the Tammy Show. That was at the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium, and that was with James Brown, and it blew everybody away. And the crazy. Stones were in the rafters looking down, and Mick Jagger's like, man, I got to steal from this guy. And he did the Stones Now, great album, Out of Our Heads, Between the Buttons. Mm-hmm. He did Paint It Black and Let's Spend the Night Together. And he wrote the choral arrangements for You Can't Always Get What You Want.
Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
And he introduced the band to slide guitarist Ry Cooder. And that's where Keith Richards stole all the different chords. He would do his tuning, and everything came after that. And everyone's like, you stole from Ry Cooder. He did Neil Young, Expecting to Fly with Buffalo Springfield, which is
Jesus
huge.
Christ.
Yep. And Crazy Horse. He worked with Crazy Horses. When You Dance, I Really Love. And he played piano on that. And then I'm giving you a full rundown. Man,
Jack Nietzsche. This is
Graham Parker's Squeezing Out Sparks. Graham Parker, man. Remember him? Mm-hmm. Officer and Gentleman soundtrack. Mm-hmm. He did Head, Village of the Giants soundtrack, Cuckoo's Nest soundtrack, Hardcore soundtrack, Razor's Edge, Starman, Performance.
Yep.
And I think he died early.
That's too bad.
He died in 98 of a stroke.
Oh, it sucks. Yeah, because like his bit for Starman, like I can't recommend Starman enough. Everyone forgets this on John Carpenter's filmography. And Starman is a big, corny sweetheart of a movie. It's cornier than E.T. and it's ripped off from E.T. But it is so well played, and Bridges is hilarious with the shtick that he does, and the music, especially in the end, is like you get that shot of Karen Allen's face in like deep focus, looking up it's fucking cry your eyes out. It's absolutely radical. One of my favorite ending shots ever. And it's that Jack Nietzsche music that does it. Just puts it over the top.
We should also note that the music to Winter's Kill was done by Maurice Jarre.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, dude, like what a fucking loaded deck that movie is. Can you believe it?
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely
Dr. Zhivago and Winter's Kill.
And it's just like...
And he also did Thunderdome.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you, I swear, anybody watches Winter Kills, you're going to be halfway through that movie and you're going to be thinking, I bet I have COVID and I'm dreaming.
Well,
this isn't real. This is nonsense.
That ham sandwich in Winter Kill is pretty good.
Yeah. Oh boy. That movie, that is Yeah, that's like a ham sandwich from Langer's. That movie. I love Winter, and like never misquote me and say that I think Winter Kills is well made. It isn't.
It is
but
not.
I do love it.
That's the point, right? The point is, nothing has to be perfect to be enjoyable, right?
Yes. Yeah. That is a blast. True. That is a movie is a blast every time I see it. Yeah. Yeah. Cutter's Way.
Let's put it this way, like the thing that we all shot together got so many flaws in it, which I love.
Oh yeah, I mean it's largely intentional, and it's like this is largely the fun stuff. Yeah, like this is that's fun. That's very fun. But yeah, like I can say this isn't puffing us up too much, but I can say that the movie that we made together is better than Winter Kills.
Yes.
We may not have made Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but we made something that tops Winter Kills. I think you guys can look forward to that.
We can say that it's somewhere between Winter Kills and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
That's the range we're aiming for, and I think
somewhere
we hit
between.
Did you guys see that? I mean, I'll tell. It'll be clear when you guys see the short, but if you go to, did you see the Matthew McConaughey Salesforce ad that I sent?
I did, yeah, you sent it to us.
And it's like, oh, and I realized like, holy shit, we could do better.
Yeah, that's how not to do that, guy.
And I realized like, it's actually a really low bar, to do good stuff.
Good, yeah. It did, well, like Eric said earlier, have you seen Netflix lately?
Yeah, it's true.
Good
it's
Lord.
True. But here's the thing. Even shitty things are expensive to make. You just have to make the decision to make a better thing. You can't just throw money. That's the thing I think that's happened more recently. People just throw money at the problem.
That sounds like a Ramones album. Like even shitty things are easy to make.
Like this is the thing.
No,
what'd you say? Hard to make?
Yeah, it's expensive.
Or hard to make. Right?
Yeah.
That sounds like people just throw money at the problem.
Yes. In fact, like part of the problem is they throw money at the problem.
Right.
This thing is so like the high, like when you look at that new Star Wars show, don't watch it. If you look at it, like it's so fucking bad. It's so bad. And it's so bad.
I wouldn't watch it because I don't like that kind of shit, which is great. I'm pure.
You're blessed. But like it's so bad in such an expensive way that it's incredibly irritating. It's
same thing with Ghosted.
Yeah, you're just like, oh my God, I can see the boxes of money being thrown into a giant burning cauldron, and they end up with this. It's mind-blowing to me. It's mind-blowing to me. And with all that said, if you love the show, you're right to love the show. Enjoy the show. I'm not mad. Go ahead. It's fine. Doesn't make any difference. It's just more stuff. It's fine. Like I said, I love plenty of shitty things. That's a shitty thing. People love it. It's great. Enjoy it. But if you want something really, truly, truly good, you have to start saying that's not good enough. That's the only.
You want to hear my next prediction?
It's like
where
the
next film studios are going to come from?
Where's that?
NVIDIA is going to make a film studio. I bet. They're making so much money now.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
They're making so much money now they can justify that, because I think that Jensen's always wanted to win an Oscar. I have this weird feeling.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. So this is
because I think the tech companies are if you think about it, tech companies have been the ones that are really taken over Hollywood, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and so you have Netflix and Apple and all those guys, right? They're all tech guys.
Which is to say that they are very, very smart and very, very Harvard MBA driven, and they're not focused on why these things were previously successful.
No, but like it's social media stuff, right? So it's like Zuckerberg is gonna. I mean, if Meta could, they would make a film studio.
Well, look for instance, look at what Meta did when they tried to make the metaverse.
Right.
That is exactly the kind of mistake I would expect them to make. Like,
right.
I was just like, there's no other way for you to, like, this is of course what you make, and it's totally useless, and no one's going to want this. Like, that's absolute nonsense and cost bazillions of dollars, and it's
they rebranded the entire company over it.
Yeah, and like, and if they had asked us beforehand, what kind of mistake are they going to make? I guarantee you, we would have said exactly this.
Right.
And so like when I look at like. because the thing is, I do end up watching a lot of Netflix. What I watch on Netflix is I rewatch all of the great movies that their big, heavy hitter star directors have made. And I do watch a lot of that, and I watch, like I catch up on a couple of old shows that I didn't see.
Here's what I think is going to be interesting. Sorry, go back to the meta thing. The irony of all this is that yes, they betted everything on the metaverse, right? Because it's like VR is going to kill it, right? And they were like, you're going to die because Apple's going to get into VR and they're going to kill you. Apple went into VR, flopped big time. Yeah. Everyone seems to forget about the fact that they thought like, this is the VR headset from Apple is going to change everything. It didn't work.
Yeah.
Right. No one cares. Yeah. And somehow Meta is actually succeeding in VR way more than anyone else, but it's still not enough.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
it's still not enough.
Well, as with 3D movies, there is a hard wall of I don't want to put shit on my head. Like that's it.
That's true.
That's it. Like if like putting this right here, these glasses are the most you will convince anybody to put on their head.
And that's where they're winning, actually. The Ray-Ban glasses are actually very popular.
Yeah, because it's light and looks like glasses. You don't look like you're in a fucking 1950s movie, and you're not wearing a brick on your head. Like nobody wants that. It's not going to work. And I am a proponent. I actually genuinely enjoy and love great 3D film, but it is a fucking pain in the ass. Like I don't want that to be the way I watch this. Like if I could watch, Pena or Avatar 2 or any of the great 3D movies that have been made with just my eyeballs, I'd be like, give me everything in 3D. It's great. I saw Jaws in 3D when they 3Dized it. I was like, this movie works extremely well in 3D.
Wait, no. Jaws 3 was the one.
No. Jaws 1, which they 3-dimensionalized 2 years ago.
What year? Oh, 2 years ago?
2 years ago. And I went to go see it.
What's wrong with it?
And I was like, this is actually something to learn from, because the way that Spielberg shot this movie works incredibly well for 3D. Like it's actually pretty stunning.
That split diopter and all that.
It's just his staging and his blocking is so terrific. Right. And when you work in video game spaces or any virtual spaces, it really is about blocking. Like it's about point of view and blocking. And he's such a master at it anyway that it plays incredibly fluidly. Like he will, in any of his movies, like he'll have oneers that you don't even realize are oneers because he constantly just steps into new frames and new blocked out actors, and actors carry over to other shots that follow. And like, that's what you need for 3D instead of cut, which is very distracting and sometimes sickening. Like Jaws, I was just like, this is a great movie in 3D. Obviously, it doesn't really make any difference, but it isn't hurt by 3D, and it's very interesting in 3D. So it's a total good thing to do. But having to wear glasses on my head sucks. No. It's terrible. It's a terrible experience. Like I wear glasses all day. I don't need more glasses.
I just saying it. I don't need that to tell me a good story. 3D does not enhance the story for me.
This is the thing about like AI, right? Like the way we talk about AI, video generation and visual generation, like the tech bros keep on trying to sell that as if whatever it makes is art. I'm like, no, what you're making is fucking stock footage. And if you go to any stock footage page, most of it's trash. Like you actually have to be good at coming up with images yourself and judge whether they're any good for this to be viable and useful. And the less control I have over it, the less useful it is to me. And so like with 3D, it's like 3D doesn't make a good movie any more than color makes a good movie. It's just a thing. Well, it doesn't. Color isn't necessary. Nothing's necessary. Like it's like there's stuff that it does that other things don't do. If you find a way to make that useful to the story, then you're using it well. If you don't, then it's not a bonus. It doesn't carry the art by itself. But that's true of every stage of film production. Like it doesn't wow me that you're the best community theater in the world, actor in the world, John Hurd.
Man, you're ripping into Johnny.
Well, I think I've seen some interviews with that guy. He doesn't seem like I don't feel that bad about criticizing John Hurd. He doesn't seem like a very sweet guy. But he has in fact done lots of very good work later on.
He didn't care about Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone.
He was very mean to Macaulay Culkin.
Mm-hmm.
But like he is, I don't want to disparage. I don't know the guy. I don't want to disparage him. And he's done great work later. But Cutter's Way is a misfire. It's a big swing that.
You notice that his last name is Bone.
No,
Richard Bone. Yeah,
Yeah.
Richard Dick Bone is his character's name.
Yes,
which is right up there.
It was supposed to be Cutter and Bone was the original title.
Cutter and Bone is the name of the novel. Yeah,
and the original title of the movie. They actually changed it.
Yeah, Cutter's Way.
Cutter and Boner. Cut a boner?
Cut a boner. Boner
In
boner
French.
cut.
And they said, you know what? We can't do it. French audiences, we need that community.
Monsieur Bonnet.
It's like Carlita's Way. Maybe people get confused by it. Carlita's Way.
Yeah, then maybe that's
Cutter's Way.
But yes, no, I don't have anything actually known or bad to say about John Hurd. I just think that he is making a classic actor mistake in this movie, and he later learned from that. And
here's a question, and I thought about it over the weekend. I'm going to ask you, Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think in 15 years, remember in the 80s where they Turner was trying to colorize films?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think in 10 years they're going to take C and B level movies from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, roll them through AI, and remake the movies and put
guaranteed? I'll go you one better. They will give that control to you, and you will be able to recast whoever you want.
No one's going to care back then. No one's going to care.
So Cutter's Way,
just as a thing,
because I was thinking, what if I
anything.
recut Cutter's Way?
I actually don't
Runway.
think. I actually really, you know what? I'll tell you what. Here's my prediction. No. And why? The reason why is because at that phase, AI will settle into a certain way of doing things, and it's not going to be, we're going to use AI to recast things. It's not going to happen.
Yes,
I don't mean to say
AI is just going to become. It's not even going to become
but they're
AI.
going to look for models. They're going to look for, just like they wanted to colorize, because he bought a company and it was a colorization company. Yeah. Ted Turner did that.
Yeah, but
so they're going to go and buy like an old studio that's all shitty now and buy the rights to these old films and then redo them.
Yeah, but they're not going to colorize them.
I'm not saying they're colorizing. I'm saying they're going to redo the whole.
If I had the chance,
you're going to have
the
same issue. Pardon me, quickly. You're in the same issue where they said you're taking black and white and colorizing it. That's not the artistic vision of the director. They're going to take old movies from the 60s and 70s that were B level, run it through AI, and put new characters in, but in the environments and change dialogue. Right. And they're going to say, but that's not the original intention of the director for Cutter's Way.
Right. Well, yeah. And the thing is, like, I can, like, for instance, with say, either of the movies we're covering today, if in 20, 30 years, say, if I could say, could you render me out Winter Kills with Jake Gyllenhaal, blah, 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 and directed by Hal Ashby, and it could do that, I would do that. I would want to see that and see what it does and see if it's interesting. You know, like map this onto this, try to make it work better, try to use these other influences and see if you come up with something better. And if it gave me control over what that was and I could fuss with it myself, yeah, I'd probably do that.
It won't.
I'm not saying there's a big business in it. I'm just saying if it's available, I would try to do that.
Hal Ashby works is because Hal Ashby does things that are in or ultimate things.
But I'm not saying those are A-list, Chris. What we're saying is there's a lot of, if you go through, there is a lot of Cutter's Way or like movies that are not that great, but made it, and they're going to fall to the wayside, much like these black and white films did for Ted Turner. And he said, "I'm just going to colorize them because I just bought the rights to them."
Because like the thing is, like, I absolutely agree with you.
I
like, you can't wait. Let me.
It's not
explain
hard.
This. So, here's the thing. It's like at no point do I believe that you will be able, until computers are actually literally awake. There's no way to have a computer make a Hal Ashby movie or anything that is anywhere near as good as a Hal Ashby movie, because you have to be awake and have taste in order to make decisions that add up to being a good movie. So when I say like make it Hal Ashby flavored, then it would render it out with certain notes that reflect things that are common to Hal Ashby things and things that people talk about with Hal Ashby. And then it would give me control over how to manipulate these things so that I could make this into a good movie with these flavors. But you still have to be someone controlling what the movie is. You can't just have a computer do that.
Go ahead, Eric.
You took it at the next step. What I was saying is that there is going to be a bulk of movies that distributors and film companies will say they're worth nothing to me now.
Yeah, right.
And then what they'll do is just recast it.
Yeah.
Right? And change it around, get some extra shots in there. And all of a sudden they've modified an original movie from the 70s that was B or C level that lost the rights. The director's dead. And they bulk change it and just throw it on late night television. It could happen. And
I think that's a better.
Why bother with that though? Because I don't think anyone's going to see that just the same way that no one's going to see this movie. Like people don't want to see a good movie or even a change movie. They just want to see the same franchise over again. So there's nothing appealing about it.
You're taking it into the context of today. Nobody in the 40s would have said, why would you colorize a film? But yet they did that.
Yeah,
because there was
hold on a second.
I know, but because of the artistic revolt. But what I'm saying is that the concept of it and what was behind it was monetary. And it was monetary based on a product. And when you have companies that have products and when licenses expire, they buy bulk. That's where Ronco comes in. All these companies that you remember growing up, they buy bulk crap and they monetize crap but what's going to happen to those kind of films? I'm asking more than trying to make a declaration, but in no way am I putting today's standards in 15 years from now, Chris. I'm just saying it is a product. It is a product.
For sure.
If a studio goes out of business, which we could possibly see,
very much so.
The third buyer from now for the old Paramount films that were below C level, they sell it off to a Korean company that basically reformats and recharacterizes all the stuff, and they put it as the next, Cutter's Way.
Right. So, for instance, to build off of that for a second,
but it's still a license.
Right. So, like, for instance, with because what you're talking about, they already do. It's when they take shitty old IP that people barely know, they make a new movie. For instance,
we just talked about it with this movie.
No, I'm talking about The Fall Guy.
Lebowski was this movie. It's essentially what we said.
But that was an inspiration for other artists, Chris. It's not a monetary company deciding. That's a totally different thing. And
to build off what you're saying, Eric, is like the movie we opened up originally talking about with The Fall Guy. Like, The Fall Guy is a great movie. The Fall Guy is based on an IP, right? I watched this with my daughter, who is not a media unsavvy person. She knows plenty about, even though we just went to go see the birds. Like, she knows all about this. But more than halfway through the movie, they have the music from The Fall Guy, like the actual song from The Fall Guy, right? And she's like, oh my God, is this a real song? And I was like, yeah, this is from the show that the movie's based on. And she was like, oh, this is based on a show? Right? And so, like, what happened there is the movie got greenlit because it is an existing IP. Right? It had nothing to do with whether that existing IP was viable or anybody knows what the fuck it is, because no one does. But in terms of making decisions over what to make, generating something brand new with Ryan Gosling wasn't good enough. They're like, don't worry, it's based on an IP. That was part of the decision-making process. I know, but
that's today's standards. What I'm saying...
No, I meant that in reinforcement of what you're saying.
I can't... All I'm saying is, the thing about the colorization was more that it was seen as a product. Let's change the product and repackage it.
Repackage it.
And now the way AI is going, in 2 years, the way I've seen AI progress is so dramatic that in 10 to 15 years, with these titles like Cutter's Way, who's really going to care about Cutter's Way in 20 years from now?
Right.
So I could see bulk sales of like Paramount, selling off after the Ellison son dies, and they sell off all the crap movies and to a Korean company that's reformatted and repicturalizing it. And then artists will say that's not his original intention because it's just a product. And
then to your point, Chris, like, I also agree that no one's going to be fucking talking about AI in 5 years. It's just going to be computers. It's just like, no, it's going with computers. And like, no one talks about it. It's just what we do.
But that's
computers are just things.
But,
AI is just a thing.
It is. That's fine. We're talking about it.
I just don't think it's going to be used the same way. I don't think people are going to. All of this stuff about AI taking over Hollywood
it's not. Yeah, but
it's not. Well,
look at it as a product, and AI won't be like, ooh, AI in 15 years. Yeah. It would be part of a business cycle. It would be part of a process.
In that they do the same thing now.
You buy these titles and reformat it. you change the dialogue.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's Cutter's Way too.
Yeah.
And you're
and
like,
no one will even
Jesus,
know
that
about the
you-
original Cutter's Way.
That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Right.
And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah,
and
for sure. Because they already do this now with
it's
say,
not to
things
be
like
taken
Polygon.
literally. It's to be kind of expansive in the mind. And
But it is
beyond,
it is also
it is
true
a product, and it's been done before and many times before.
Like
and
AI taking over Hollywood is nonsense because AI can't make decisions for itself.
That's
why
not
it's
creating
nonsense.
it. But
Yeah, exactly.
It's not creating it, but certainly the monetization of old titles in an easier fashion would
100%.
definitely be done.
100%. That's just like, this is what I always say, right? I'm like, just like, why are we fucking freaking out about AI is going to diminish the artistry of movies that are made when you have the content of Netflix is all as bad as anything AI. Like,
it's been like that for a long time.
It's been like that for a long fucking time. Like, judge it by the quality of the thing, not by the tool you use to make the garbage. Like, if you're making garbage, you're making garbage, whether or not you used AI.
Yeah.
That's how it is, you know? And so, like, the idea that, like, the bad faith element of people that argue against AI comes down to this, is like, they do not believe that people outside of themselves have the power to discern whether something is bad. Right? They're just like, oh, AI will take over? How? How will it take over? By making bad things? James Cameron didn't become James Cameron because his movies were bad. Like, you have to be good at what you do in order to become James Cameron. And you can't just press a button and have AI generate something that is good. It's ridiculous to think that. And to think that people would just suddenly mass consume yet more bad things because they don't know the difference is foolish. Like, it is, however, true that we largely do consume bad things. And AI has nothing to do with that. Like, we have an appetite for garbage. And that's part of what we want. And we should admit that and build a paradigm around that as opposed to
food.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and like, in that we have, with the paradigm we currently have, we have locked out a whole bunch of food that's actually important to us. That's where the market should be. That's where there's money to be made. That's where there's a problem to solve, because people do eventually want good things. They just don't want it wall to wall on Netflix. That's not useful. That's not what Netflix is about. You know, and so like the whole AI discussion, I'm just like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, you have, like, when there's things like, what's it called, the Apple movie
Ghosted, which is fun.
Ghosted, like that, it could be an AI product.
Oh, 100%. It's so predictable.
Yeah. Like, if you let AI run, it'll make Ghosted. And apparently that's fine.
I like sort of watching movies like that just to sort of finger on the pulse of what's going on. What's the other one that, like, what's her name? Godot,
Red Notice?
Yeah.
Gal Gadot, yeah.
That one is like it's like, how much money did I spend on that?
Yeah. Grey Man's the same way. Diverting, mildly entertaining. It's got Gal Gadot. Come on. She's attractive and funny. That's
kinda worth, is she?
I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. Like, she checks the boxes for not paying attention to the movie I'm watching.
That's so
like, that's all you're looking for. It's like with the amount of Jeff Bridges with a shirt off that I watched today, like, that is box checking. You're just like, okay, so let's block this scene, everybody. Jeff, take off your shirt. Yeah. And action.
And action.
Yeah. Lower your pants a little more. You need to see more abs.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, that was like, I'm severely manscaped. Shots.
I mean, it's actually, when you look at it, you're just like, this was 1980, really?
That's
because
wild.
That looks like it was shot yesterday. Like it's the ideal perfect guy, you know?
Yeah, that's really, really wild. But yeah, that's that whole business, man. I'm just like, AI is in, like, there's gonna be there already are fantastic new tools I use all the time, and I don't even bother to mention that I'm using them, because whether people like the work is my business. Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit? These are just tools that I'm using. You want to look at my stuff and buy my stuff. That's what I'm concerned with. And if I'm advertising that I use AI, then I'm probably a shitty artist. Don't worry, I'm going to use AI to make it good because I'm not good enough myself. I use AI all the time because it's faster and it gives me time to make more stuff. That's good. That's my plan.
All right, I'm actually going to wrap it up because
it's been I was just about to say, it's been a good show since we have been on for 2 months, 3 months.
It's been great. I appreciate you guys being part of it and the fact that we were able to cover it. And it's been a while, and we'll try to be more regular, maybe try to do another one next week or whatever, but we'll figure it out. We'll get back on track. We'll probably post an actual podcast next week as well, because I got to get back on actually putting them up on our site and everything. We got to probably do a bunch of things. So we'll get back into it, guys. Get back into it.
I'm glad we
in the saddle again.
Yeah, nice. And exactly. And I'm glad we get to chew on a couple of obscure Tubi-esque movies that
you should still watch them though.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially
Winter Kills. I was gonna say that's when we were like, whoa, that was a thing that happened.
That's exactly. Am I hallucinating? What is this?
The weirdest thing for me was the
ending death is the best.
That was beautiful, but the Sterling Hayden was like, what?
Yeah, like almost like I wish they had used Sterling Hayden as well as they used Anthony Perkins. Like once Anthony Perkins shows up to the end of the movie is terrific.
Yes.
Like that's just
Anthony Perkins is like the ultimate evil scientist,
so
computer
good,
science
man.
guy.
So nervous.
Yeah, I love him in that movie.
That's invest in Brazil.
No, listen to your son. Invest in Brazil. Brazil.
Yeah, that would have been a great. That would have been a great Hal Ashby film.
Oh, can you imagine, dude? Like with both the ridiculousness and the
Warren
subtlety?
Beatty would have just made an appearance too.
Oh, dude, yeah. Like no, Warren Beatty would have been the dead brother. He would have been the president of the United States. Yeah, that would have been fucking great.
That's smart.
Yeah, that would be a real treat. No, there's a movie to be made there. Paul Thomas Anderson, if you're listening, Winter Kills.
No, he's too slow. I think the Safdie brothers, who are doing movies again together. But
are they?
Really?
Oh, thank God.
Yes.
Good.
But I don't think they're directing. I think they're splitting it, like producing, directing, something like that.
That's okay. That's okay. As long as they're nearby each other, I think that it still has the effect.
Something
the Safdie field.
Fight each other.
They produce the Safdie field, then we're fine.
I think co-directing was the challenge. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I bet they have pretty intense opinions. Their movies are pretty intense.
I didn't realize that, by the way, Eric, that their grandfather was Moshe Safdie.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? I think Dan brought that up.
The architect,
we were like, wait, what?
That's so funny.
Wait, what?
That's really... But there's weird things like that in Hollywood, like, I've said it before, but like Cedric Gibbons, who designed the Oscar and created the name production designer, he designed the Oscar and created the name production designer, with most prolific production designers.
Yeah.
His nephew is Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top. It's like, wait, what?
That's weird. That's a strange one.
Uncle Cedric. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
And Uncle Cedric Gibbons' wife was Dolores Del Rio. Look her up.
Yeah, I know who Dolores Del Rio is.
Oh my God.
Yep.
She was like Selma Hayek before Selma Hayek.
Yep. That's some old timey goodness right there.
Old timey goodness.
Absolutely.
Mr. Getz.
Oh man.
Find the girl.
Now listen to me, son.
Oh,
good God.
Mr. Getz. Let's find the girl, Mr. Getz.
Actually, I don't know. There's so many things about Winter Kills that I do love it. I got to say, because it's so over the top.
It gets in there.
Him is just like, he's such an asshole, and it's like, I'm going to take that asshole and just make it comically bad.
Yeah. It's, I mean, like after a while, you come to love the fact that it's kind of like a acid trip TV movie.
Yeah,
like it's like
oh, forget about the dog. She rolled over in the sleep, killed it, suffocated. What?
So good. What the fuck is going on? Oh my God, dude. Yeah. Oh, like the casual bit where a Parisian woman takes off her pants and the.
I like that. It was almost like a commercial for Charlie fragrance or something.
That's
She's
exactly
absolutely
right.
city. It's Charlie.
Freeze frame.
Kooky girl.
And then you
She's
cut to
dressed
the
like a
old man
We
looking
don't allow
like
women
with
with
his
pantaloons or
gazpacho
whatever,
looking,
I
and
guess.
the wife covers his eyes with like her feather boa. Like, stop it.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's supposed to be like the Russian tea room, is what they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Like, oh god. I love, and I really do love Jeff Bridges as this sort of like very passionate moron. Was a great gag for him. I think that's.
I also love the fact when she's like, "Let's get married." And it's like, I don't know what I want to get married. It's like, but it's like, I know my father will pay for everything. It's like, what if I'm Jewish? We'll get married at St. Patrick's Cathedral. It's like, what if I'm Jewish? It's like, doesn't matter. My father knows the cardinal there. Like, that doesn't mean that she wants to get married. It's
What
like,
are you talking about?
you'll never have to work again. I do want
I
to work.
like to work. I want to work. What the
Yeah.
fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, it's like, yeah, boy, oh boy. Yeah, I swear, there's like, yeah, maybe this is a future project for, right? Like we have to do Winter Kills, the special edition. I think that would be that movie, especially in the post-Trump era, definitely needs to be rethought through.
Well, if you think about it, like the algorithm of chaos, that's exactly what Facebook and Meta became, right?
Exactly true. Like the movie is so accurate, it's comical.
Yeah, it might as well be
accurate.
Mark Zuckerberg instead of Anthony Perkins saying, like, well, that's what the algorithm says. The only way I can continue to make money and sell ads is if I keep everyone freaking out.
Yeah, everyone's in a high agitated state. Like all of the conspiracies are true because I have agitated everyone up into this fucking crazy headspace.
Yep.
And I'm just like this. Like I don't even know. Like, but I'm going to read the rest of the book. I'm just like how early. Like it's such a brilliant observation, and it's nested in this very strange film. It's amazing.
It's really interesting. Lately, I subscribe to a thing called Medium, which is you pay like $5 a month. And you get
I know Medium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it, and the
it's
subscription's incredible, especially for AI. I've seen a lot of posts where people are like, "I'm just tuning out." Try tuning out for 6 months, where they're just not looking at news on their phone. They're not turning on the news.
It's because it's a bunch of fucking bullshit.
It's like wow,
noise.
and it's really like what about that? That's an interesting thing to do. Just
put down I swear to God. Have a bowl of oatmeal every morning, put your phone across the table, read a book. You'll feel a million times better.
I quit
I think
alcohol.
the thing that
It's
was
been a
most-
month now, and sugar.
I think the thing that was most poignant to me that you said, Dan, was when you said that everyone seems to have forgotten that there was an assassination attempt on the former president.
Yeah.
It was completely and a current presidential candidate.
Yeah.
People
Like
just seems to have forgotten
Mid
that.
80s, that we'd be
thing.
freaking out.
Yeah.
Just still now, like
Yeah.
the Challenger accident. If this
Absolutely.
was in the 80s or 90s, if
Yeah.
that happened,
Yeah, and it was only a few weeks ago.
Yep. I mean, because and certainly when what's his name shot Reagan, you know,
oh my God,
like
Hinckley
that was
Jr.?
fucking it was Hinckley, and like it was just that was a year's worth of reporting on that stuff. It was crazy,
Yeah.
and that was just that wasn't even.
You know why? I think there's a conspiracy behind. They're trying to
Yes.
hide something about this.
God, I swear to God, no more conspiracies.
Yeah, he was a Trump supporter. That he was been.
I'm sure
wronged.
The thing is, let's say it's true. What does that matter? What does that matter? Like that's not the real problem. The real problem is us. Like it all comes down to us. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. We're all in our own QAnons now. I think that's what's happening.
We're doomed, is what we are.
Yeah. Everybody's in their own little QAnon. Wow.
It sounds like something on a pillow.
Yeah. It's true. Everybody's in their own QAnon. If you think about it.
We should just switch it. Drink, QAnon, drink.
What? Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for indulging me on those movies, fellas. Those are special ones.
Those are fun. Fun. And I was like, all right, I'll do that. Every night you suggest these weird films, and they're fun. And this was definitely. It's like
I have to make up for my communion debacle. Come on.
Yeah, you still got ways to go, but yeah, it was a good start.
That's right.
This is a tick back in the right direction. A small tick.
It's a small tick. But
We'll get there. We'll let you know.
All right, guys, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, drink.
Talk.
Drink.